The time is now, ladies and gentlemen, to find out which one of the teams will finally make it through towards the regular season and whose hopes will be all but lost. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last chance qualifiers for the MEC Fall 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got Warren with yourselves, and alongside Warren, it's going to be me, Scared Yet, as well. We've got Meta Esports taking on Misa Esports, or rather, that's Meta Shift out here. Warren, do you think they'd be able to shift the meta, or it's going to be Misa taking the win?
Well, you already foreshadowing that it's going to be Meta Esports. What are you on, Scared? Like, do you see into the future? Do you know they got the cake, so now they have a brand, they have an organization? What's going on, Scared? Like, did you leak something that's behind the curtains? How is it with the game? All right, well, anyway, back to what we will be having. Jokes aside, because this is a pretty serious matter. Because right now we have only 4 teams remaining. I mean, probably only 3, right? Only 3 teams remaining, because right now one is waiting in the loser bracket finals for his opponent that will fall from this duel right there. So one of those teams we will see clash twice, and in the end they might not even make it. But 2 of those teams that we will see today, they will be advancing. We can see once more, we can once more have a look over what's happening over here. This should be loser bracket, right? Yeah, we can see the L. So Loyal Sword against Carpe Diem. That's probably something that's still in the play because we don't see results there. So from this duel, they will be advancing into the lower bracket finals. And that's what we will be broadcasting. Just to remind you, today we have 2 BO5s, 1 upper bracket finals that will be happening right now. That's Meta Shift against Misa Esports. And then the loser falls into the lower bracket finals, and he will clash against either Loyal Sword or Carpe Diem. Depends how will it clash out. That's something that will be happening behind the curtains. So it's still left for debate if Carpe Diem or Loyal Sword will be the ones being the gatekeeper, you can say, of the loser bracket finals.
Yeah, that's one of the big things, right? If it's going to be Loyal Sword or Carpe Diem out here. For all the people out who are wondering, yes, in a total of 3 matches remain. The first one is going to be the upper bracket finals, which we will see right now. The second one is will be happening side by side. That's going to be the lower bracket semi-finals, which we just saw Loyal Sword up against Carpe Diem, and the loser of the first one, which we will see either Misa Esports or Meta Shift. One of them will move down and match with the winner of the teams that we just saw, ladies and gentlemen. And why are they fighting for? What are they fighting for? What's at the stake? It's the last 2 slots for the regular season. We had 6 teams from the Thunder Division, 6 teams from promotion relegation, and now only 2 more teams remain that will get a chance to qualify by themselves in the last chance qualifiers, and 2 of the teams will be the invited teams. So we've got all in all, what, around 16 teams out here, my man. In Warren, that's a lot of teams for the entire regular season, to be honest.
Oh, it's indeed. That's quite a lot. But looking at the invited part, do you have a hunch? Of course, we don't know yet, but is there a team that you are feeling like should definitely be invited? Of course, we still didn't see the last chance, so possibly it could be one of the teams that didn't qualify through last chance. But here at last chance, we only have 4 teams remaining. So I think it's honestly up to the question. Do you feel like there's a team that should get the chance for invitation?
I mean, to be honest, all the top 4 teams of the last chance qualifiers can eventually get, I think so they've got in themselves to get invited for that. But all in all, it's absolutely fine. I think so right now, the main focus is going to be the game that we have in front of us, right? Metashift taking on MEC esports. The fun fact, Warren, is that you already mentioned it previously. It is the best of 5. So it's not just 1 or 2 games that will eventually get you the win, right? You will have to dive deep into your own hero pool, into the drafts. You'll have to bring out some strategies to counter your opponents right from match 2, match 3, or rather game 2, game 3 itself. So it's not a sprint anymore, my man. It is a marathon, and the stamina for all 10 of the players that we will witness, it's going to be in the question, ladies and gentlemen. One question which will be answered right now will be the map, as we will see the broken walls for the very first game.
Honestly, it's quite surprising to me that Broken Walls will be the first map modifier, because it's such an explosive way. It's one of the possibly the explosives, the most explosive one modifier that you have possible. So that's telling me, all right, those teams are very ready. They want to go for each other's throats, and they will start immediately when we get onto the Land of Dawn. But one thing has to be said, and that is, you spoke about it being a marathon. Well, definitely everyone has to keep in mind that the team that will lose this BO5 will have to afterwards battle out another BO5 if they want to get through. So, of course, it's a marathon for both of those teams that we see right now in the clash. But the one that loses, that's going to be such a long hike to Mountain Everest or something like that, because it's going to be such a long day. But I hope you will enjoy the stay, all you viewers at home, and we hope that it will be a great show. Going into the first draft, we already see Metashift banning out Uranus. Makes a lot of sense. We saw MLBB have super big success on him and making him stand out even as a carry hero, even though you would expect Uranus to possibly be just tanking.
I mean, we always know about these Uranus players, right? That they stand up in your face in front of you, and then they're like, yeah, do what you want to do. Let's see what you can do to me. And then roam around the entire field, hop back in with the exact same amount of HP the fight started alongside with. So it is pretty annoying. It's a bit of a respect being shown as well for MLBB, which you rightly mentioned. I think so. If they are on the path of respect, might as well just ban out an Arlet for the first one, Metashift. It's again, there's the fun fact, right? These two players have faced each other all the way in Thunder Division. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, have they actually faced each other in the Thunder Division? Did Jackpots play against Void Kids when MLBB was the part of the roster? I think so. Jackpots played before that. I don't think so they have faced each other. But yes, both of these players, they've got that experience all the way from the Thunder Division itself, right? So you know that this match is going to be a pretty fun one.
Also, there's this narrative happening. I already read it many times in the chat. People questioning the decision of MLBB switching into the comp of MEC Esports, going into that organization, going into the roster, and they are kind of questioning, was it the right idea? Aren't Void Kids better just based on the fact that they are in Thunder Division, they got through Thunder Division, and they already qualify? Whereas MEC Esports, alright, they are right now in upper bracket finals, but they still have to show it for themselves. Of course, it will be very exciting to see who will be the exchange for MLBB. But right now, speaking about MLBB, did he make the right decision? That's what it comes down to right now, as we will see it roll out in this BO5 and possibly the second one, if this doesn't go as MEC Esports plan. Looking into this clash, I'm feeling like MEC Esports should be the stronger ones. But of course, you can never count out Pel Metronio in Metashift.
True. That's one of the big mans, right? You know that you give the Irithel to this dude, you give the Melissa to this dude, he will carry the entire team on his back. It's not like he needs to do it, but it's just the fact that he's got those capabilities. So you cannot really put Pelmetronia out of the question. And I think so that is going to be a big part of the entire drafting phase itself. Meta shift, Basha opened, picked up instantly. Now what's going to be the counter? The Yi Sunshin into the Kimi is an angle which I can see. But since there's a Farsa still available, I don't think so Akimud would really be the best possible option for Misa Esports.
Of course you get down the range by Farsa, but we saw it many times playing either Kimi being picked into Farsa or Farsa being picked into Kimi. Of course they kind of lost on popularity lately because the players tend to go for something else. But right now, Pancake locking in together with Yuzong, this devious Angela, this little rat you can say. If there's one hero I hate to face in ranked, it's definitely Angela.
At this point, it's not even a surprise to see the Yuzhong, right? It's been one of the most prioritized pick in the entire last chance qualifiers. And it's not really just some new coming players who are, or rather the rookies who are showcasing the Yuzhong. It's also the veterans, right? Even my lobby picking up the Yuzhong like it's absolutely nothing. It clearly shows you that there's been a slight shift in the meta itself out here, though. XTRYL picks up the Alice. We did see him perform yesterday, and he was pretty good on that Alice, the main playmaker of the team. And on the back of it, you've also got the Kimi being picked up right now. I think so this should be a good spot to pick up a Farsa. But at the same time, I think so they need to lock in their marksman, or rather their jungler as well out here.
It's different. It's very specific situation in which Misa Esports are right now. It's quite peculiar because, alright, they decided to instantly lock in Lancel, but that means that Metashift can immediately ban Forza and make the life of Kimi much easier.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, right? You don't even have the Eve to play around with. It's already banned out in the first banning phase. The Lunox has been taken out too. So there's a very few options now that remain for you to pick anything up in that mid lane. Unless you're deciding to put this Angela into the mid. Well, then that would mean if you're putting an Angela mid, then a Nitan ban out here seems... It would be making a lot more sense out here instead of the 1-1, right? I think so if Metashift would have banned out a Nitan, that would have meant that this Angela has to go on that roam position. You cannot go anything in the mid lane. Now you've also got the Farsa available. You've also got the Nitan, right? So that you have that magic damage. You've got that late game security for yourself. I think so Misa Esports can still pick up something that can disrupt the entire flow of Metashift out here.
I have to say, so far, I'm kind of a hater of the way that Angela could be played mid lane, because so far I never saw... Maybe we saw a game where it was won by the side of Angela being mid, but what I mean by that is that you basically put all the control and all the... Alright, Joe, that's quite interesting, quite exciting. Possibly Rome. Probably, yeah, I think he is in Rome. That's like, honestly, the only place he should be. Quite interesting to see Pancake being on Cho. He was, people were saying in the chat, because I was rewatching some of the games from yesterday, and people were saying in the chat that he is one of the best Tigreals. So let's see how he can put it to use on a hero like Cho. Because honestly, you can one way look at it and say, alright, Cho is very different, but me, myself, looking through my eyes, I must say, the angles in which you can utilize Tigreal are very much similar to angles in which you can utilize Cho. So, if he can translate that skill expression, I think it can work.
I do get where you're coming from, right? You need those bushes control. You need to be aggressively taking that map space away from your opponents, and that's when you can set things up for your team. So I agree that wherever you decide to play a Tigreal from, that's where you eventually decide to play a Cho from as well. Now, since, as you rightly mentioned, the Cho was picked up, Angela out here for the mid lane, that means you need some magic damage since Lancelot is a physical one, so Natan is the only other option which you could really go for out here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be moving into the Land of Dawn itself, 30 seconds into the game out here. We've got Metashift taking on Misa Esports. It's the best of 5 upper bracket finals. The one who win it will move directly into the regular season of MEC Fall 2025. The one who loses will have to go down to face yet another brutal matchup of best of 5 out here, as we quickly look at the little fight, and it's Wise who wins it out.
Meta shift already with a little bit of lead. They got the lead. The Wonder Wabbalabadabdab running over the map, instantly securing the information. That's very crucial right now, and that's where Lancel started. Pancake already looking for some trades, not possibly just making sure that they can push the wave in before their opponents, because of course Angela doesn't have that push. She doesn't have that much presence as any other mid laners, so that's quite a surprise that she is able to push it through, especially against Kimi. Right now we see Pancake moving into topside. He could be making a play, but Zitriel should be fine. There is 8-1-2.
Oh my goodness, there we go. 8-1-2 as he instantly wanted to get a pick onto my lobby, but he will fall back to safety now. XTRYL picking up the Molt in essence means he will be clearing the way faster. He should have an advantage over my lobby out there. And I like the idea of Pancake standing up on top, making sure that my lobby gets that cannon minion too.
Oh, Wee's getting stunned up. That's something he doesn't quite like. Yesterday we saw many times he got stunned up and he wasn't quite liking that. Of course, we would love stuns. I think they should honestly get them out from the game. I think it would be much more fun. But other than my conspiracy theories, let's think about that meta shift are right now getting their turtle. So it will shift. See, pun intended indeed. They will shift the goal lead into their favor as we see 8-1-2 approaching enemy jungle, so he gets that crucial info. I think he stole the lizard, didn't he?
He absolutely stole it. Did not really use the retribution for the turtle. He was like, nope, there's absolutely no one who's contesting it. Since there's an Angela on the side of MEC Esports, they do not have the mid lane priority. And with the Kimi on the other side, that's extra mid lane priority. I love it.
I have to say I quite like what's happening there, because Metashift, looking at their team comp, they shouldn't be the ones having Preo, since MEC Esports are all big play.
Yeah, right now, there we go. The way of the dragon though, but Kimi not failing the angle to get picked off out here. Wise has got to go back as well as my lobby jumps in from the top. There's the Yuzhong Airlines, gets him out instantly. But now he's going to be taken down too. Instant trades from the other side. Misa, I'm not really getting what they really wanted. STRYL getting a double kill though. Wise gets a trade and dashes out. Thanks to the creep out there, the purple buff up in front though, but the trade should come in. And there we go, the SOD connects. Wise gets taken down, a double for Pelmetronio. Netan could not hop in that fight, and this has instantly turned disastrous for Misa.
If I had to show you one clip by Pelmetronio is possibly one of the best gold laners that we have here in Europe, it would be definitely this clip. Because look at the guy, and right now look at the fight that's happening. Pancake Barrow is surviving, and 8-1-2 will be going down.
And my lobby instantly getting in for that trade as well though. No hard guard coming in from Angela, but definitely one coming in the mid lane as God Believer. Not really gonna get stunned up by the puppets on a string. Will have to dash back, and holy smoke, there's the Lancelot which we always talks about. Recalls on his face as well as Cupcake picks up the kill on God Believer. But now there we go, the Alice Thorn of Ruin immobilized onto, but no one to follow up on the back of it except 8-1-2 as he wants to go in. But again, this Pancake out, ready, Way of the Dragon connects onto, but destroys Poison thanks to the Ring of Punishment. Eventually helped him out to survive out there. There we go, another Black Dragon form out up on top. The Revitalize popped in to try and help 8-1-2 to sustain, but he cannot win against this Black Dragon. This one is a lore accurate Black Dragon out here as my lobby is constantly getting them down. No win for Wabbalabadubdub2. Drops out the glorious pathway. It's only leading to his death out there as God Believer. Finally, choking down a little bit to my lobby. But there we go, another hard guard. This has been one heck of an extended team fight.
Alright, and suddenly you can see why Angela could be a deadly tool in your arsenal. I was a hater, but looking at it now, we have to specifically speak about that Metashift didn't utilize that well the prio they could have had against Angela, even though there was a Chow on the other side, but they didn't quite use it. You could have saw Wabbalabadabdab just running around getting the information, but he wasn't really making plays, making stuff happen all around the map. And what this results into is that now you have very deadly mid game in the hands of MEC Esports, and right now your only way back into the game possibly is the late game, because right now you are not winning those team fights.
But here's the fun fact, there's a Nitan on the other side for the late game out here. How are you supposed to win it? Yes, we understand that Pelmetronio is on a Moscow, the Trinity is pretty good, but there we go. Pancake should be going in for the Way of the Dragon, doesn't even care about the angle. Baited out the Purifier from Pelmetronio, but the answer back coming in from the other side. God Believer, there we go. Traction Pulse does not land whatsoever. Bit of Was able to run out of the harm's way, but here we go. The damage is there, but Pancake surviving by the skin of his teeth. No trades from Metashift whatsoever.
Right now it looks firmly in the hands of MEC Esports, but if you are a fan of Metashift, definitely keep in mind that their late game is their way to play, because for now, Moscow will not be playing much.
Yeah, that there's going to be a bit of a problem, right? When there's a Black Dragon on top of your Pelmetronio. It's got to run away. No Purifier on that man, and he instantly gets punished out there, as well as God Believer. Seems to be the second one. And guess what? This Yu Zhong doesn't care if it's the tower tier 2 up in bottom lane. He's always there to take down that every single person. It's an unstoppable for my lobby. He's owning everyone on the side of Metashift.
Absolute slaughterhouse. My lobby 612, and this is exactly why you don't leave him on carry picks. Of course, he can carry on your enemies. He showed that to us yesterday. But if you leave him on something like Zong, which is especially deadly right now in the meta, that's something you have to be counting with. You have to be accounting for. And I'm not sure, but I don't think there is even single dominant size on the side of Metashift.
Yeah, I was just about to say that I kind of want to have a look at the itemization right now. As we have another turtle which was picked up already by MEC Esports, a 3.3k goal lead. There we go, Warren. Talk me through it.
Well, right now, X3 possibly just finished his dominant size, so in the future fights it will be super important. But the thing is, Alice, oh, look at the thing.
Yeah, God Believer gets instantly taken down out here. Hardcard comes in as well on the top of my lobby as he just makes sure that there's no engage possible for Metashift. They've literally been outdrafted out here, my man. And again, another way of the dragon. And this time, XTRYL gets instantly deleted. No point of that dominant size whatsoever. Up top, though, there's a 1v1. Pelmetronio's got to rush back. You can't really fight against a Nitan right that. And guess what? Even the Purifier's been baited. The hard card popped on as well. On every single front, it's MEC Esports winning with a 5,000 goal lead. Wise?
I mean, you have to speak about the fact that Cupcake is definitely one brand of a player, because you typically have either the ego players or the players that are the opposing group, and that's the group that's willing to do anything to win the game. And even though Pancake is not doing something flashy, he's not making crazy plays. Speaking of a crazy plays, Pancake.
Yeah, there's the knock-up coming in. Wise, though, eventually caught in between a rock and a hard place out there. 8.2 is finally going to pick that one up, as well as the Black Dragon is up on top of you. God Believer surviving by the skin of his teeth now. No over-engage from MEC Esports. I absolutely like that. It's a 1-for-0 trade. Metashift finally getting something. Lowering down the goal lead to 4,400, but I don't think so that's going to be enough. They need to win a full-fledged proper team fight.
And full-fledged proper team fight is something that should be happening pretty soon, because 3 seconds for Lord. But as I was saying, Cupcake, he is definitely the one willing to do anything, even play Angela mid lane to win the games. And right now, it's working perfectly for them. But speaking about dominant size, that I spoke about it before in great lengths, like how no one has it. 812, Wabalabadabdab, and X-Trail, they all of those have a one dominant size for themselves. Maybe an overkill, if you ask me. I don't know if you need that many, but well, that will definitely be important. So Cupcake doesn't shield that much, my lobby doesn't heal that much, and possibly Bitter will not be getting those shields as well.
The big problem out here that Metashift are facing is the fact that Pelmetronio and God Believer, both of them, yes, they're running on a Purify, but they're not able to create that proper gap, because my lobby can fill that gap very quickly with the Black Dragon form. And he was, a little while ago, we saw those damage numbers. He had 54,000 damage. That was double the damage of the next person in the lobby, and that was 812 right now. Another fight. We have the Dragon right on 812 himself as he tries to run away with Tortoise Pachon. The stun connected on 3 people now. Pancake could eventually be taken down, though 812 first trying to fall there. XTRYL not going to survive out there. Finally, the SOD did connect, but there is absolute red signal for Pelmetronio. He still jumps in. Entropy on the face by Bitter as he still takes him down. This is just an over-farmed Nathan. And there we go. The Thornrose connects. Wise is able to take God Believer down thanks to the retribution. Wobble-up-a-dub-dub can only see the Lord being picked off as he now eventually will be taken down. Puppets on a string on top of him as he still tries to sustain the tower damage, jiggled up perfectly. MEC Esports, they're winning on every front, and they're potentially winning this game right here. If Bitter stays alive, that's the big thing. The hard guard comes in yet again on top of him. And instantly, he's back to full HP.
I wouldn't dare to make judgments too quick, but right now looking at it, I spoke the question, is MEC Esports the right team for my lobby? And looking at the domination they are showing in the last series of the Vol Qualifier in the finals, when they are put against top 4 team. Well, basically you can say top 2 because they are still in the upper bracket finals. So in the top 2, they are showing this level of dominance. Whoa, I'm fearful because if this is something they can keep up.
Yeah, right now they've got to keep up with this Black Dragon form up on top of them. As again, their front line is going to be taken down. Instant stun connects perfectly with the Petrify as the catch on 2. And even the back line is now struggling out here. The final slash coming in, or rather, random execution. They're going to be running back to safety as well. 8.2 thought he can make an outplay, but guess what? He gets instantly obliterated. Finally, Pelmetronia hops in as well, but he does not have any damage.
I have to say this is the exact moment when really your mechanics and the way how you play the game, how you approach the game doesn't really matter that much, because your opponents can possibly miss most of the skill shots and still win out. Like right now they can just beat you up with their money, and they are doing exactly that.
Who said money can't buy happiness? I'm pretty sure MEC Esports would be super happy looking at how the game is going right now. Almost a 9,000 goal lead as well, and another Black Dragon form used in just to disengage from every other thing. MEC Esports, alright, we saw that, but we're gonna ignore that. Coming back to the same thing, right? MEC Esports, they've literally got so much money in the bank right now. Meta shift. I do like the idea of God Believer making the Divine Glaive first, but here's the thing. It doesn't really have any major damage items, so he's not able to do any kind of damage on the other side. Yes, Divine Glaive gives you penetration, but if you don't have any major damage item to back on it, then there's absolutely no point. And it's not his fault. The itemization is correct. It's just that they do not have any gold.
Exactly. That's the thing. They have no money. And right now they are begging on the street for more money from the people running around, walking by them. And it looks like MEC Esports will not be giving them any money, at least for the time being. Because right now, 10 seconds for next lore, that could possibly spell the doom for this game for meta shift. And if they want to keep battling and keep fighting in this BO5, they need to step it up. Because the first game wasn't theirs at all.
Blood Wings being completed by God Believer, and also a Radiant Armor being picked up right now by 8.2. Oh my goodness, what a nasty way of the Dragon as the backline is being zoned out. Pelmetronic gets instantly deleted, Petrified on the backside. Purify used up already. God Believer still gets that stun, and thanks to the Thorn of Ruin, my lobby will be traded off, but not for nothing. It's going to be an inhibitor in the mid lane as well as one in the bottom lane as well. They should be able to take this one down though. Again, Wise styling on this Lancelot, not really getting the mark on point though. 8.2 still trying to survive. It's going to be bursted down instantly. Crystal out open wide. There's still no minions as the wave hops in from the top. And MEC Esports instantly securing the game number 1.
Well, that means my question is answered possibly just based upon that one game, because my lobby looks very, very well in this team comp, in this organization, in this squad that he has right now. Of course, we will see if they are able to continue this streak, because right now this game was very dominant, but of course the story of the second game could be completely different. Though I am a little bit on the doubting side, because it's finals and 10,000 goal difference. Maybe walk me through the draft. Do you feel like there was an outdraft happening? Because from my point of view, I don't feel it wasn't playable.
I mentioned it in the draft itself, right? If this Angela is going in the mid lane, that means you're supposed to ban out a Natan. A Harith was already banned out. If that would have been done, that means it would have basically meant that Misa would not have had any proper magic damage. That would have made it easy for the side of Metashift to itemize, and again, they could have tried to prioritize that gold lane a little bit more as compared to every other lane out there. I think so. It was literally an outdraft coming in from MEC Esports. The Angela Yuzhong combination, my lobby snowballing in the early game. into Bitter just farming through the mid and late game. That was an absolute destruction, man. And if you even look at the items, like Wobble-Up-A-Dub-Dub does not even have a magic defense at this point. XTRYL and 812 picked up their Radiant Armors nearly once we started to see that very last team fight. So 14, or rather let's just say 12 to 13 minutes into the game, that's when you're picking up your first solid magic defense items. That was enough time for Bitter to scale up. Even without any Holy Crystal or a Blood Wings, he was just destroying everyone in the front line. And those were the few factors which eventually combined in, and Metashift could not really do anything in that game.
Well, and to all our Tigreal mains out there, it definitely looks like if you are good enough Tigreal, then you can play Cho. Because Pancake, 2-11, doing so much, doing a work of, I would dare to say, even 3 people. He was kicking, constantly harassing, not letting 812 set it up very well. Couple of times I was, well, the first couple of times I was a little bit surprised by him focusing down 812 because I felt like, alright, Baxia, and there is no chance you are gonna burst him down. But it was so early into the game when Baxia had possibly like 1 item, maybe not even that. So he got bursted anyway, or he just got so chunked that he couldn't continue to tank it out. Honestly, for the side of Metashift, now looking at their whole comp, they were lacking damage. Because if you look at if you're closer at the heroes they are having, Alice, she's possibly going tank, right? Then you have Baxia, which of course is going tank, and Hylos, he is not doing damage. And God Believer and Pantronio, they will start doing damage only after like 3 and more items. So there was no DPS to chunk down Yuzong, there was no damage to get rid of Angela's shields, and when Bitter came online, it was just so rough. So honestly, in retrospective, I have to say, I lied to myself, because looking at the draft now, kind of analyzing it a little bit more, I have to say it wasn't the best draft. Still felt playable, and I feel like it came down to a couple of crucial mistakes, and that is especially the fact that you had decent early game with the mid lane prior that Kimi enables you, but Lavaba that you used it very well for that initial control of the map, so he knew where Lancelot started, but then it didn't result into anything else. They didn't get plates, they didn't get kills, they didn't get catches, they didn't steal any jungle camps, and then came the mid game. And mid game, it was a kingdom of MEC esports, and they didn't leave the foot from the throttle, from the fuel pedal, and they kept going, and they went through the finish line. Well, not really through the finish line, but at least through the line of first round, let's say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, as for now, the game number 1 was pretty phenomenal for them, and I agree, it was basically one of the drafting mishaps for Metashift, which eventually led them into this kind of scenario. And I agree, they were kind of lacking damage though. Apart from that early game control where they got the first turtle, they didn't really have anything to work around with, and the mid game power spike was just massive for everyone on the side of MEC esports. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll be looking into the dangerous grass, let's see if this eventually has any kind of impact on the draft itself, right? Maybe we're going to see some more Kalias, maybe some pocket picks, something along the lines of a Kaja too. We have seen it being pulled through a couple of times, so I'd not really be surprised if he hops up here. But on the other end of the spectrum, now the pressure is going to be on Metashift. They're on the red side. That means that either way is going for those priority bans, and that would mean the draft will be controlled by MEC esports, and they're also trailing behind, so they've got to be just under the pressure right now.
Wait, Skirt, I have to ask you once more, how do you know that Metashift is on the red side? Because they choose the side. And possibly they could have chosen the blue.
That could be true.
Draft picks.
Ah, you were right. You were right. How you do it, man? You have to tell me. You have to lend me your skills. But please, since I definitely want to win a lottery one day, and it looks like through your skills it could be possible. Well, jokes aside, right now we need to focus up on the draft, as MEC esports, well, they can kind of keep it cool right now because they showed great dominance. Of course, 60% of the game is already been through the draft, and definitely the mix-up through Angela either being Rome, but then switching them, not them, but her into mid-lane position together with Nathan, since they saw the opening. There's definitely something. Wait, I think the score is wrong.
It's fine. We're gonna be fixing that. Don't worry about it. It's all right. It's all right. It's Misa Esports 1-0, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure the production just wanted to test how attentive everyone was, and Warren has proved it. He was pretty attentive in the previous game. So yes, it's gonna be fixed up quickly. But coming back onto this banning phase right now, the Basha has been banned out. It's fair. Metashift don't really want to go for it. They're on the red side either ways. Can't really pick it up as the prio pick. On the other side, Misa Esports can now actually dictate this entire draft. Banning out the Harith, banning also out the CC, just to give my lobby some more room to work within the EXP lane. I think so the idea of Misa Esports is clear. Just make sure that my lobby has got at least a normal 50-50 lane or a winning lane, and then he's going to do everything for the entire team, while the rest of the people can just enjoy doing their own things. And that strategy has been working out for the previous 2 series, I'll say.
Most definitely. Let's see if he goes for the cheeky, sneaky Uranus first pick, but probably not, since it's something that we saw in the past, but I don't think that's something we will see now. The points were shifted in the right way, so of course Misa Esports are right now in the lead. But as we have already spoke about it, red side for meta shift, so they have the answer capabilities. Of course, Baksha is out of the board. They didn't seem that successful on him, so it makes a lot of sense that they don't even mind to ban him out, because they wouldn't possibly go for him. Maybe that's something that they would rather not do based on the first game. But Pancake locking in that Jason Shin for his jungler. From what we saw from V's, I think we already saw him on Jason Shin especially, so that's also a fact. But from what we saw, his form for today on this Lancelot, definitely Jason Shin is something he can shine on, so that will be very exciting. And also it will be very exciting how Metashift will deal with the draft, since they have the answers. They need to answer. 80% win rate to Zong is in their hands together with Gato. Though, I don't know. Do I like Gato here? What do you think, Scared?
I think so. It's a bit of an early pick out here as well, right? You've already showcased that you're picking up a Yu Zhong. That means the Gato is going in the roam position. The only reason why teams normally pick up the Gato as the first pick on the red side is just to keep that question mark. If it's going in the EXP lane or if it's in the roam position. But now that has basically been revealed, and guess what? No Angela for the side of Metashift. It's Misa Esports still picking the Angela up. And fun fact, it's going to be a Uranus in the hands of my lobby. You remember what he did, right? I remember what he did last game. It's going to be difficult to deal with. Metashift there. I think so they're already getting out-drafted here. They really need a Kimi early on, but they're going to lock in the Hayabusa. Lancelot was banned out, so that was probably the only other pick available. But against a Uranus, tough.
Alright, them banning Nathan is definitely the way to go. Now what I would love for them to do is to not sleep on the bans and just ban out Ruby. Because looking at the composition of Misa Esports, they could definitely go for gold lane Ruby. And even though their damage wouldn't be as mixed as they would want to, since it would be Uranus and Angel representing the magic damage, but everyone else would be physical, it's still a comp they could go for. So I would love for Metashift to read that and ban it out, because it wouldn't be the first time that we would see Ruby being played in gold lane. And I think it's such an important ban for them. Alright, they went for it. I mean, I would even dare to say draft safe, but though I still dislike Hayabusa. I have to say, I know he is one of the meta champs, one of the meta heroes. Lancelot is gone, Jisun Shin is gone as well. You will have super good 1v1s, but honestly, I would even go for something like Alpha to lock out the targets.
Could have been one of the way to go, yes, I agree. I'm thinking of what Misa could ban out here. I think so an Irithil ban would be a pretty good one. Because considering the scenario that's been built up right now, Pelmetroni would want to go for one of his comforts, and he did showcase a lot in the Thunder division itself when he was playing on the Irithil. A few games where we thought the game was lost, but Pelmetronio came in with the Ducati and then just instantly turned everything around. Gonna take care of Lunox out there in mid lane though. Probably one of the comforts, but the Farsa is still available. Pelmetronio locks in the Moskov yet again. I'm not a big fan of it, considering there still could be a golden Lapu Lapu picked up on the other side, or Something along the similar lines.
That could be truly deadly for the side of Metashift, and Permetronium would be the first to feel the wrath of the bravest fighter raging / land shaker flicker combination, and then I can tell you he wouldn't be happy. Of course, Moscow still has some tools at his disposal. He can stun into the wall or just move Lapu Lapu aside, but the super important interaction is that Lapu is CC immune during raging / and during land shaker, so that basically means that if Permetronio doesn't choose the moment very wisely, it's more so like a mind game. If he doesn't choose the right moment, then it's completely wasted. It doesn't do anything at all, gets blocked by the CC immunity. Right now, Misa Esports are definitely thinking it through, and they are going over their options. Though I think it definitely has to be... Oh wait.
All right.
Oh wait.
Fair. There's a full-fledged dive on the other side, right? You've got the Hayabusa, you've got the Yu Zhong, you've also got the Gato, and yes, you know that Moscow is also pseudo dive marksman. You have to get close to the other side to try and play. So they pick up an anti-dive hero. They pick up the Tigreal, one of the best. You already mentioned how Pancake really likes to play with that Tigreal. Even on the previous one, he showed that his show was pretty good. I was thinking that maybe Misa Esports could pick up the Valentina and put the Angela in the roam position with the fighter gold lane. But guess what? Metashift picking the Valentina up. They're going to lack in the magic damage quite a lot, I must say. But at least they will have one more option to try and work around with when it comes to those ultimates as well. So massive heavy ultimates out there, and maybe you're going to have God Believer picking up the implosion itself, but will it lead to their victory, ladies and gentlemen? Or will it be the demise? Will this Monian Empire defender make sure that Misa Esports are in the lead of not one, but rather two in this game? We will find that out in game number 2 as we move in the Land of Dawn. 45 seconds in, as both the junglers will be playing in the opposite half of the map right now.
Though I have to say one super important thing, and that is, I'm not the biggest Valentina player, so... scared. What are the scalings on Mountain Choker? Is it good? Like, if he steals ult from Wei, is it something to be worried about?
It's more so of a utility ultimate out there, man. Like, yes, it will give you the vision, and then you'll also have the second part of it to try and stun someone else. But I think so there are a lot more other ultimates that you can use up, specifically a hard card as well. You can just steal it away and then be like, attach yourself to one of your own heroes. That basically is an Angela Yu Zhong combination for your team, which Misa Esports pulled in the previous one against Metashift.
I agree, that's such a good observation. Of course, that's something they probably will have the highest priority for. Of course, he can even go for the implosion, as you have spoke about it before, but possibly it will be the hard guard in most cases. Right now, first turtle will be spawning onto the map. We can see God Believer a little bit in the lead. Of course, Valentina wants to be in the lead since that's how the hero works. Then she has more damage. Right now, a little bit losing on that side. They don't have that mid lane prio because Vabalabadabda was just hugging the wall, not really trying to show himself. But the problem is, Xtrill half HP because my lobby is already pushing him out of the way. Hayabusa will be moving in, and Moscow is super low, so even if he hits that level 4, he possibly cannot join, and Bitter is already rotating.
Yeah, that's the big one out here, though. There we go, the Oogie Shadow Kill onto Cupcake. Cupcake's gonna flicker out of the harm's way. Still got the hard guard available as it's on. Irithel in the backline. Implosion used up, but the Purify saves the life of Bitter. And XTRYL out there trying to fight against Pancake. Guess what? The backline has already been wiped out. The good thing that worked for Metashift was definitely the turtle being picked up, but Bitter will put a bitter end to XTRYL's Black Dragon form. The Irithel farming up early on, and Cupcake should fall. Please pick him off. Holy smokes, no! 812 had to use the shadows to run back to safety. Oh my god,
well,
hold on.
Run into safety. My lobby should think about saving himself.
But the hard guard out here is the saving grace for him out here. He's going to move back finally, as it does not really care about any kind of recall. That man is going to go back to full HP with all of that.
I think they should really up the mana cost on Uranus's skills, because this is just disgusting, if you ask me.
This is madness out here, though. He's going to run back to safety with the consecration used up. Does not really have a lot of HP, but the hard guard brought out as well. The Revitalize coming in on Wobblabadubdub will eventually help him escape too out here as my lobby gets picked off. A nice pick off coming in from Metashift.
Yeah, of course you can say, oh, Pelmetronio,
He's
don't
dead.
do it. He's alive.
Oh my goodness, lucky this man to run back to safety with that dash. Otherwise, this could have been another pick for Bitter out here. Wobble up, dub dub. Needs to back off. Don't really want to get that defense shredded by the skill 1 of Idrithel. It's going to make sure that Pelmetronio is also losing a couple of minions out there. And that is not a good story for Metashift.
Well, right now, talking about stories, Metashift definitely needed to hype themselves up with some good stories, with some good fairy tales, because compared to the first game, they look so much better, at least for now. You'll see how they will be able to play it out. Of course, their opponents are outscaling them, so they need to make it work in mid-game as we approach the second turtle fight.
It's going to be an important one for Metashift. And as you said, they really need to up their game in this mid game because the late game scaling of MEC esports is just obnoxiously good. And I like the idea as well. MEC esports sending Cupcake down in the far lane though. But the red tree used up 8-1-2, easily getting this turtle as Wise was all the way towards his own purple buff. The team could not really delay onto this one. A level advantage for 8-1-2 right now. And if Metashift keep this up, they can have a massive snowball in this mid to late game transition.
So far, looking at the trades happening between God Believer and MLBB, it looks like MLBB. We can see that over in the item section if we can have it shown for a bit. But I believe strongly that MLBB is completely skipping any magic defense items because the damage he's obtaining from God Believer is just unreal.
Yeah, he's going in for an anti-Curious first item instantly.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense compared to your opponents, right? There is X-Trio, there is 8-1-2. Of course, Pelmetronio will not be hit by that. Maybe not at all, because he probably will be going. Yeah, we already see it. Corrosion side, so he is going that on-hit Moscow. So he doesn't really care how high his attack damage is at the moment. X-Trio trying to run away, force back the M4 and fight.
Oh! Massive implosion coming in though, but that's all thanks to God Believer stealing it one away. Wise is going to be taking down the AOG to knock them up. As Wobble Up Dub Dub gets one though, with the answer back coming in from Bitter as well. Heavy crossbow not yet available, but there's the hard guard finally on top of him as he wants to go in for the chase as well. Lucky that he was able to survive out there. And it's going to be again Wobble Up Dub Dub. Puppets on a string, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Should be taken down, but holy smokes, he survived for quite a long time.
It's just so rough if you are being Pelmetronio right now, because you look over there and Bitter 4-0-0. That has to be so heavy on your mental, on your head. You are in a losing position series-wise, and now Bitter, your biggest competitor and the one guy that you kind of have to deal with during the fights, and you try to out-damage him and do more than he does. So has right now obtained 4 out of the 5 kills. So possibly like 80% of all the kills is on him right now for side of MEC esports, so definitely kind of rough. Though, if you look at the girl, Metashifts are not doing so bad for themselves because it's still even as MLBB is pulling the turtle.
Yeah, absolutely, but there we go now. A lot of damage being dealt to Bitter. The hard guard still not being used up. Honestly, Pancake. That was a good implosion for the creep, but no one else. That would mean Metashift will get this third turtle as well. No problems whatsoever there, at least. And they actually want to go in and gank this gold lane now. Finally, the implosion being picked up by God Believer. He's got to try and play it safe, though. There we go. The AOG is going to be connecting perfectly, as well as the XTR Wiles Black Dragon form. Hot guard used up now, and that's the wrong direction. Petrify comes in. Implosion as well. Every damn trick in the book used up just to shut down this one Irithel. As the minion still is there. Double kill coming in for God Believer. MLBB getting utterly destroyed by the magic damage, though. Up on top, though, there's a very different story going on. Wise was able to push back 8-1-2 on a Hayabusa in a 1v1. That is a bit annoying to deal with right now. Cupcake. Oh my god, hold on. Cupcake. All right, finally. Thank God he's getting picked off there, but that was actually a pretty risky move for 8-1-2 out there. He used the Oogie shadow kill and instantly it got cancelled out by the flicker of Cupcake, but he was able to pick him off.
Indeed. Thanks for the explanation for a little bit of a time. I wasn't quite sure what happened there. So apparently that's how it ended up happening. Cupcake really smartly keeping this flicker to cancel out on Yugi Shadow Kill, really playing to the limits. But unfortunately for him, it didn't really matter, and that's something that Cupcake has to respect. And honestly, now I see the vision. I didn't see it before, but I have to say, now with the Hayabusa coming to fruition, Cupcake cannot be split pushing as he would love to, because he can anytime join the team fight, join the team. Because if he is shown even for a single moment on the side lane, Haya is going for him and he is putting him back in the graveyard. And talking about putting someone in graveyard, my lobby.
Yeah, he's got to try and run away. The consecration used up, but that's going to be the pick off for next RYL. Make it 2 as well. The implosion lands on 4, but it doesn't matter. Bitter will send God Believer down to pray for the deity he loves the most. Our Bubble cannot tank anything, as it's an absolute 2-4-0 trade. That means a free lord coming in for MEC Esports.
And it shifted so suddenly. I just wanted to brag on about how meta shifted. 8-1-2 trying to make a play happen.
I don't think so. Yeah, he's gonna run back to safety. Yeah, the shadow available, and this is the entire patience game from MEC Esports. The discipline is perfect. Made sure that they're not hitting the Lord, so that 8-1-2 cannot really get any kind of retribution in, and everyone just moved a little bit away.
Though you have to say, Pematronio has been farming up, and I'm a little bit worried because he's the same level as Bitter, so possibly he is not that far behind.
Oh, another knock-up coming in. This time it's going to be Wise getting chain CC'd into Oblivion, make it 2 as well as Cupcake falls down 2. The Lord hops in mid, but it's not gonna do anything because it's only Bitter that remains now. Not really the best
AOG
play coming in from Wise out here. AOG just to zone all of them off as the Lord gets taken care of, and the mid tier 2 could now be taken down though. And there we go, Pelmetronio jumping in with the SOD. The Purify comes in and along with the implosion on the other side. But 8-1-2 finds the flank angle perfectly as on the back of it. It's only my lobby that remains, and everything else is up for grabs for Medashift.
Oh, it indeed is. They already took it. Pelmetronio level 12 for the first time, being higher level than Bitter. And if we compare the gold, he is right now sitting for me at 7,500, so 400 ahead of Bitter. So in Pelmetronio's own words, it doesn't matter how many kills you have if I am farming this well. That's definitely something this man could possibly say. I didn't want to quote him on that because I didn't hear him actually saying it, but possibly something that went over the Discord, because right now 004, 8,000, very firmly in the lead, and he is the man, the carry, the legend right now. Demon Hunter completed after Golden Staff, and if there was a moment where you should be scared of Moscow, it's definitely now, because even Uranus will have trouble surviving that, and you can already see him itemize. I believe he is right now going... Wait, that's not the build path into Blade Armor, right? Wait, no, I was looking at Tiger, my bad. Possibly he should be going for that Blade Armor, because that would really help. But talking about helping, 8-1-2 needs a help.
Absolutely, but for now, Wise eventually moving back as well. Cupcake still does not have the hard card available, so they've got to be pretty careful about it. The Black Dragon form being used up as well. He actually wants to jump in to try and go in for a bit more fight out there. Wants to take down Pancake, but I'm not quite sure if that's really the best way to go. Disengage coming in from Medashift though, and they're also losing a bit on that gold advantage they had. Now, the fun fact, you brought out those build paths as well, right? I was looking at my lobby. He's gone in for the Oracle as well as the Anti-Cuirass. That means he's going to be bursted down by both God Believer as well as Pelmetronio, thanks for the Trinity build out here. Oh my goodness, Bitter! He's just getting taken down instantly, all thanks to Dub's items. And now, as the hard guards being used up onto Bitter himself, they will have to go back. No priority in the Lord pit. And that is a big win coming in for Medashift.
And then people are able to come to you and tell you right in your face that roamers are the weak ones. Bitter getting pushed away, punched left, right, and center, left hook, right hook, middle hook, everything. Getting beaten up by Babalabadabda with full defensive items. He didn't have a single carry in the world. Right now it looks like Medashift could be wanting that Lord, but they are still dancing around. They don't want to fumble the bag. They are in the lead, and compared to the first game, it's going so much better for them. You cannot really single out one member, maybe Extra possibly as the feeder of the game.
8-1-2. 8-1-2 really wants to catch on to Wise out here though, but the hard guard eventually helps him survive. No Ugi Shadow Kill now available. Implosion catching on to 2 to 3 people out here. Another knock-up coming in though, but God Believer gets taken down first. The SOD connects, but you cannot really have Pelmetronio hop in this fight as Vice gets a double kill. That was a big one coming in from Metashift though, but it's not really helping out. Implosion on XTRYL with the Petrify to help him out a little bit. He's still trying to sustain the Purify, used a bit of it just to make sure that those Shah residue stacks eventually get removed. The Purify on the other side, Pelmetronio as well wanted to jump in, but Cupcake is not letting him push.
I have to say, I have to ask rather, how is it possible that you are 3,500 gold ahead? Pelmetronio with a 1v2 against MLBB, he possibly will be dying, it's just a matter of time. Yeah, he tries to go for the wave, so at least he gets that, but he will be put down, unfortunately. Yeah, they are just...
Oh my god.
Honestly, killing him later is the way to go, since he won't be available for the Lord fight.
Oh my god, I'm pretty sure my lobby has built up some proper defense. Show me the defense items of my lobby, man. Is it a blade armor? What is it? Because I could see Pelmetronio, he wanted to go in for that damage, but he could not do anything. If anything, he was getting picked off instantly, so he just decided to give up. He was like, alright man, finish me off. And then he saw my lobby not actually going in for it. He had to run down all the way towards the inhibitor tower, and it's just as you mentioned, the later he dies, the more problem it will be for Metashift.
But honestly, looking at the timers, he will be available right now for the defense. 8-1-2.
Yeah, Wind of Nature coming in out here from Beta though, so it's going to be survival game for him. All thanks to the hard card as well now, but that means they can't really go in for any kind of engage over towards the Lord. Pelmetronio spawned up. He's just trying to make sure that he clears out the Lord. XTRYL as well. He's going to be doing the exact same thing. The mid inhibitor should be taken down. Beautiful play coming in from the side of Misa Esports. The siege is perfect. The discipline is good. And they're not overstaying their welcome.
Malefic gun completed for Metashift, for Pelmetronio specifically. So more range and some of that juicy penetration. God Believer going with play.
Yeah, Implosion coming in though, but he can't really tank anything now. There's the Black Dragon form coming in. My lobby is going to be stunned up to the wall. Thanks for the Revitalize coming in from the other side. It is going to be a bit of a chaos, but guess what? On the back of it, it's Misa Esports as 8-1-2 God Believer. Both of them have fallen down. A 2-for-1 trade as they still want to go in for the chase, and the bottom inhibitor along with the top will now be the target.
I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of what happened over here. I feel like Metashift should have waited, because right now they could be losing their whole base.
Yeah, that could very well be possible, but again, there's the everything cleared up Cupcake. This caught between a rock and a hard place. Wind of Nature used up. Pelmetronio wants to survive with the minions from every single place, and now burning down the crystal thanks to Bitter on the refill. And it's a 2-0 in favor of Misa Esports, man. They're just owning Metashift right now.
And the worst part is, it wasn't even, well, possibly for the mental health or for the mental well-being and mental readiness of their opponents of Metashift. It's possible that this was the better result. Of course, they would rather win this game, but this was the better result than to get dominated as in the first game. But I don't know, man. Maybe it would be better to get dominated in the second game as well and try to bounce back in the third one than to have it holding the victory cup in your hands, and then they come over here and they took it from you.
At this point, it just simply feels like Misa Esports know every single trick that Metashift have got in their bag, and they're just utterly destroying them. I mean, the itemizations were pretty decent. I'd have to say Pancake wasn't really hitting the best ultimates, right? The best implosions. But it was just the fact that they did not really let Metashift fully scale in that mid-game, which helped Misa Esports with their double marksman composition to absolutely destroy Metashift on the other side. And at this point, I personally believe that Metashift should ban out the Angela. That has been working very good for Misa Esports. I think so with an Angela ban, we might possibly see things changing. But if that's not the case, Misa Esports will still steamroll. The blade armor was completed for my lobby at that point too, along with the anti-Curious and Oracle. That was one of the reasons why Pelmetronio was struggling a little bit. Dominance Ice, Anti-Curus as well for Pancake. God Believer, as I said, God Believer was the only magic damage dealing entity for the side of Midaship. Wubble up a dub dub, yes, Gato, but he's a roamer. It's not really going to do anything to my lobby or Pancake. The only people that he can actually deal some magic damage would be to Bitter, Cupcake, and Wise.
I wanted to say that I felt like Yuzhong, at least to me, felt super squishy, so I wanted to go over the build, but looking at the build, well, there wasn't really anything he could have... Well, maybe, honestly, thinking about the shoes, maybe he should have went for the not the tough boots, but for the shoes that give you armor, right? Because in those later fights especially, he was getting chunked so quickly. And I see the vision with Hunter Strike, but then you lose up on the spellbind that you are getting from Vorax. I know that it helps him stick, but he could have sticked only for a couple of seconds, then he had to run away immediately.
I agree that could have been one thing, but again, I'm pretty sure I'm nitpicking out here though. I feel that the tough boots were understandable considering there is Pancake on the other side. There's also Wise's Mountain Shocker stun, so he just wanted to make sure that he's not getting caught in that. But at the same time, yes, I kind of agree, right? One of the big reasons why he was being destroyed was because of, I mean, look at that, full build for Wise and Bitter. Both of these marksmen were doing absolutely everything. 79,000 to 65,000 damage respectively, so they were making sure that they're on top. But God Believer on this Valentina, almost 100,000 damage being dealt, somewhere around 7,400 short onto that one. He was making sure that he was bursting down the entire front line, but nothing apart from that. 8-1-2, as I said, yes, this Hayabusa pick kind of makes sense in one part of it, but in the early game, it's the Angela-Uranus combo that's going to be on your face, and then in the mid to late game, it's going to be Angela-Irithel combo or the Angela-Ascension combo. You can't really burst down anyone with Yugi Shadow Kill unless you snowball out of control, and that just did not happen.
It worked really well in the moments where he was catching Cupcake off guard on the solo lanes, but that happened like 2 times, I believe, but then Cupcake kinda realized the fact that that's something that will happen, and he stopped doing that for a couple of minutes. Then we saw him defending the top side of the map against Pelmetronio, so that's a moment where he was doing that, but 8-1-2 was nowhere to be seen because he was dead. He was lying on the floor, waiting for the respawn. So, yeah, I have to double down. I know I changed my mind, but I don't know if Hayabusa was the right call, because of course you can catch Angela on the side, but if she doesn't go on the side, and that's something that possibly can be set over the Discord, like Cupcake, look man, don't go on the sideline, you get killed by Hayabusa, just don't do it. And it was perfectly fine.
At the end of the day, it was also Pelmetronio who was trying to push those side lanes as well, right? So could not really capitalize on the fact that Cupcake was still able to clear the waves. That's the only thing I'd have to say. And at the same time, I think so instead of picking up a Moskov, if Pelmetroni would have decided to go for the Irithel himself, that would have given a bit more depth to their draft to work around with. Considering the Moscow, as much as a lot of teams, people, players love it, I still think there are other marksmen that give you a lot more value than a Moscow in these kinds of games, because you don't really get a chance to go for any kind of backdoor. Plus, thanks to those river buffs, river movement speeds, the advantage that you would have had with the SOD, if not entirely, but it is still nullified to some extent.
I agree, that's something to keep in mind for sure, but at the same time you have to kind of give it to Pelmetronio because his Moscow was so good. It's just so unlucky that it didn't come to fruition, because it was on point. Like, you couldn't pick a single moment of the game, at least just me going through my mind, like kind of recollecting what happened there, but I cannot single out a moment when I would be like, all right, yeah, this was a bad play from Pelmetronio. It felt like he was doing his absolute best, and that honestly should be said for the whole team, because this loss wasn't really that of a loss in a form of the first game where it was they got out-rotated, they got out-maneuvered. This game felt like, alright, some of the teamfights could have been played a little better, but both of those teams were playing so well that it was so close, even in the kill department, 13-12. If you would show me clips from the game and then you would tell me either of those teams won, I would believe both of the ways, like both of the sides winning, because it was just so head-to-head.
I agree. It could have really gone into anyone's favor out there, though. But as I said, I'm probably just nitpicking out here. It just came down to that mid-game transition, right? This is not the first time which we've seen in both the games which we've seen right now. The early game control is in the hands of Metashift, but it's Misa Esports who eventually take it from let's just say the mid game transition and then take control to the late game as well. So I think so it's that transition phase where after taking the first turtle objective, I personally feel Metashift kind of get lost as to what they need to do, and they eventually do not play up on their win conditions. This time, yes, Hayabusa was doing their own thing as well. He was farming up. At a point, there was a level advantage as well. And I could see somehow 812 getting that advantage over Wise, but they could not really sustain a long time onto that one now. Finally, holy smokes, alright. It's Metashift who are banning out Angela. Don't get confused by the name, people. We're going to be fixing all of that as well again. It's a bit of a question for all of you who all were paying that attention out here. I believe Metashift, if they're on the blue side out here, that means yeah, they are going in for that Angela ban. So yeah, it's a respect, right? Warren, I said that they have to ban Angela right now, and they're doing that.
Well, but if you look at the players, that I think is the part that's correct. Well, then the ones banning Angela, I don't know if I understood you wrong, but the ones banning Angela are actually Mesa Esports. So it's not the other way around. It's not really that Metashift kind of learned from their mistakes. Well, they couldn't really, right? It was the first ban, so you cannot harp on them too hard. Because, yeah, first ban, they didn't even have chance to ban something themselves. So, of course. But it's kind of interesting that the team that's switching it up is Mesa Esports, not Metashift. Because Metashift, after those two games, even though the second one was close, you could be thinking to yourself, alright, now they learn, now they know, alright, we played against it once, it didn't work out. Then we tried to counter it, it didn't work out. Now for the third time, we ban it. That's something that should have been on the cards, but of course, Mesa Esports jump in first, immediately banning it. Together with Yuzong and Uranus, and that is telling me that they really dislike those healing XP laners. And if you dislike healing XP laners, aren't you not going for Lapu Lapu? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of see the sense in that one out here, though. But as I was mentioning, it is Metashift on the blue side right now, so let's say, Warren, the theory that you were crafting there, the things that you were cooking, it's not really working out. Yeah, the things that always jumbled up has been fixed up perfectly out here. So now that means Angela, Yuzhong, Uranus, all three of them banned. Two of those heroes are for my lobby. Fun fact, the Arlet is open.
Yes, you are absolutely correct, Scared, and he could go for it. And especially with Yuzhong and Uran, of course, Arlott is very capable of playing into Yuzhong. He can jump around, his skills not really get hit. But Uranus possibly out-heals Arlott and doesn't really care about what he has to offer. So right now, it looks like Mesa Esports are in a very good spot to go for Arlott. No, it will be Lance and Grog. Of course, yeah, let me get it straight. I wasn't really expecting Arlott be the first of those two picks. I think possibly now as the third or later.
Could be possible out here, or maybe for the third pick they can pick up their, let's just say, mid laner. It's a Yi Sun Shen into the Alice on the other side. Now, maybe picking up a Kimi and then banning out the Farsa Eve on the other banning phases. That could be one of the way to go if Mesa Esports want that. There's still a Lunox open as well, so I don't think so they're going to rush onto that mid lane right now since Alice and Basha have been picked up along with the Yi Sun Shin. You know that is the Yi Sun Shin into the jungle, Basha into the roam, Alice in that EXP. So the draft has been again revealed by Metashift. That's the third time in a row. Now that makes things easy for Mesa Esports themselves. Pick up an alert, ban out a couple of mid laners out there, keep a bit more flexibility for your team. Either way, Bitter is literally winning the lane against Pelmetronio, so you know that's not a problem.
Well, yes, they revealed some of the cards, because right now you know Jisunshin is jungle, but of course Lance was already picked up, so you was on the responding side, you weren't really dictating, which is typical for the blue side. But I really like what they did here, because if you remember the first game, they went Baxia jungle, and this time around they are going Baxia roam, so for the I would have to ask Mesa Esports if that's something they really thought about, because for me it looks like it was a great bait coming from the side of Metashift. They went Baxia first, their opponents were like, alright, they are definitely putting him jungle, so we are taking roam, we are making it harder for themselves, but well, joke's on you, they already had a roamer.
And on the back of it, any being picked up in this Grok Lancelot composition. To be honest, I'm still liking what Mesa Esports are doing, and they also made sure that they ban out the Ruby, so no gold lane Ruby options for Metashift. CC's been taken down. Maybe you ban out of Moscow at this point. Just put Pelmetroni on a bit of an uncomfortable hero, if anything, and then you pick up the Irithel for yourself. You'll have a bit of late games insurance too against the Yi Sunshin, Alice and Basha. Or you can also pick up the carry in this one, to be honest, right? Because there's a lot of tankiness on the other side now. Bane being banned out. I love this ban. Bane in the gold lane. Yes, there's a slight bit of nerf on the Ale, but I don't think so that's enough to put him off now. All are taken care of. So yes, Metashift have done their homework. Don't really want to let that comfort pick go in the hands of my lobby.
Well, maybe they overdid their homework, because them banning out Nathan, when possibly Mesa Esports weren't really going for him, since we saw them only pair it up with Angela in mid lane. I don't think that was the angle, honestly.
I think so too. Maybe it's just falling down to that late game insurance, right? They're probably trying to read into this one. That since Mesa Esports have got a physical jungler and they've got a magic damage mid laner, they can potentially pick up a magic gold laner as well and go for a physical damage dealing EXP laner too, to basically equalize the amount of physical and magical damage they've got. You mentioned about the Lapu Lapu Warren. I can see your expression. It's been picked up by Mesa Esports into the Alice.
Well, and right now you're on the receiving end, which is quite surprising, because usually blue side is the one that dictates. Well, wait a second. They kind of did, right? They have Alice, but it's funny because for the side of Jisun Chin, he was the one responding, right? Alice and Baxia were the ones telling you, all right, this is what will be happening. I like Farsa. We saw Yves and Farsa matchup happening many times. If we single out the ultimates and we don't take them into consideration, then of course it's kind of equal, but the Feathered Airstrike just has bigger range, and it has even bigger range the longer you are into the game, so Eve will have it hard. Oh, Lunox gold lane. Wait, maybe they knew with that, Nathan. Maybe. Alright, I have to give it back to them and to you, Scared. Maybe they knew what they were doing.
It's a bit of an interesting pick in the hands of Bitter, though. I'll have to say that if they do not get the mid-game scaling, then Metashift are definitely winning this one game out. They've got the Yi Sunshin, Irithel into that late-game scale. They've also got the Farsa. They've got the Alice. Every single one is late-game hero. Hold on a second out here. I think so. Mesa Esports might actually pull this one off. If the Farsa doesn't really get any early picks, that means you can't scale very well into that mid-game. That's going to make things so easy for Mesa Esports to work with. And they've also got this Grok Eve composition, right? You've got that kill box already set in thanks to the Lancelot's AoE. You'll also have the Lapu Lapu hopping in. Man, I can see the comp working for Mesa Esports, ladies and gentlemen. But will Metashift make their way back with this super late game scaling comp? Or will it be Mesa Esports 3-0ing their way through this upper bracket? We will find that out after this game number 3. And this is a potential chance for Mesa to step back in the regular season.
Honestly, I'm quite a hater if you are matched up against an opponent that's stronger than you, which I believe, right? Oh, talking about strong, Grok.
Holy smokes, out here, lucky that the bird was able to survive, God Believer. It's going to be hopping back in, burning up the flicker early on in this fight. 55 seconds for that turtle. He will not have it up till then.
The idea for Metashift to go this super late game composition where they are not really winning any of those lanes, well, maybe Irithel can find some openings, but she's definitely not outpushing Lunox. I mean, in mid lane, oh, stun happening.
Yeah, that's a big one out here. Cupcake eventually going to be taken down out here. Lovely pick off from Metashift. And this is what I was talking about. The win condition is to get some early picks on this Farsa.
Yeah, and that's something that happened so far. Well, at least they got one, even without Flicker available for God Believer. So that's quite surprising. Honestly, you have to talking about Flickers. Cupcake didn't even use his Flicker, so it was so quick he couldn't even react. X-Trail will try to get the XP crab. Doesn't really happen. Or, I mean the gold crab, right? Pancake got it, I believe. MLBB finished up Tough Boots, so those shoes. Oh,
Wise. Yeah, he's gonna be picked off instantly thanks to the stun coming in from Bubba Dub Dub. Cupcake not yet hitting level 4. The feather airstrike flickers there. Real world manipulation was dropped in, but the shield was just not enough for the backline. Now they want to take down 812 as he gets instantly deleted. Thanks to the raging slashes and pancakes, bonks with the skill 1. But now Bubba Dub Dub wants to chase down this Lapu Lapu. There we go, the support coming in from the other side. The tectonic charge, perfect as God Believer, will be sent back to Hoeven. Wise picks up the turtle as well with a phantom execution. They instantly punish Bubba Dub Dub. Now Pancake wants to survive. He wants to run over the flicker burnt up from XTRYL as 812 respawns and joins in to shut him out. Bitter will run back to safety. The heal will help him survive. What a fight.
Just when I wanted to say that Meta should have the early game form in their hands, suddenly Miss Iceport with a play, and
they are not stopping. They are absolutely not stopping. Picks up first one as well, but Wise is still going in for the trade. The ball being brought in though. One basic attack is all he needs as Pancake hops in for the support. Wubba wanted to trade Wise, but he is able to survive. And on the top, Elmetronio. He wants to get a pick on Bitter, but Bitter
Pancake.
on the Lunox.
Pancake.
Space Mania. Oh,
Pancake.
Stop it. Oh, he puts the ball in. He puts the ball in. Tectonic charge misses every single thing. But Pelmetroni just sidesteps everything, man. Holy smokes. The recall's been stopped in, but guess what? Pancake has no way for him to survive out here. The stun connects as the feather air strike is also dropped in. Real world manipulation coming into the play as well. God Believer pretty low in that HP, but now Bitter wants to join in. He's instantly wanting to shut down. Flicker comes in from God Believer, but the chase comes in from this Lancelot. Wise styles over God Believer on the other side as Pelmetronio finally shutting down Bitter at 812. Gets a piece of Wise. Cupcake taking Pelmetronia out of there in that 1v1. What are we watching, man? Is it a 3-lane brawl?
well, brawl is one way to put it, because I would like to say that all sense of tactical approach, all sense of strategy, God Believer finishing off Cupcake somehow. I don't really know what happened there. I think feathered airstrike, maybe? But all sense of strategy and macro was thrown into the bin, because now it's a slaughterhouse, it's a brawl, it's a 5v5 clash in a ring, and whoever comes out on top, well, that we will see at the end.
Cupcake has died 4 times, man. This is just insane. This is madness. No one's getting turtle whatsoever. They're fighting into the jungle or Wise as he's pretty low in that HP. But again, that's the front line which we're talking about. Oh, Wubba wants to survive though, but his exit path's been blocked in for the airstrike being dropped in to try and take them down. There's the 3 bonks on Cupcake. As Wubba was taken down, XTRYL still trying to zone Pancake off. This turtle is going to go for 8-1-2. Finally, a bit of some safety net. Maybe not. My lobby stunned up by the tectonic charge, or rather getting picked off out there thanks to the mountain shocker. Bitter winning the 1v1 against Pelmetronio, and I never thought I was ever going to say it, but yeah, that's Pelmetronio losing the gold lane 1v1.
Well, you cannot really give it, you cannot really harp on him that hard. And talking about harping, Pancake could be in trouble. He gets CC'd up and he will be going down, and that's Grok. His third death? Yeah, third. He will keep his flicker for the next time. But super important thing I would love to pinpoint is that 4 kills out of those 9 for Mesa Esports is only in the hands of Grok. And in the hands of Grok, it doesn't really matter. So you can count out those 4 kills. God believe with a flicker, go in for ways. Bitter.
Yeah, Bitter is going to be taken down. There's no way surviving. Yeah, has been shut down instantly, but God Believer as well. Getting caught in the middle of the real world manipulation. Cupcake getting that shut down as well right now. Oh, there's no way for this wheel to run back to safety, as my lobby seems to be the next one in target. A knockup coming in, but it doesn't matter. XTRYL getting a pick on my lobby on the other side. They didn't give him a chance to survive.
And it's super important to keep that in mind. 4 kills out of those 11, that just means 7. If you compare 7 to 14, well, everyone knows basic math, but that's double the kills for the side of Metashift. And if you look at them, no kills are on heroes that it doesn't matter on. Vabalabadabdo has 0 kills. You have to give him credit for that, because he didn't steal a single one. I know.
Oh, right now, again, my lobby wanted to get knocked up though in the backline. XTRYL shutting down Cupcake will help him to sustain as well. Will survive out there. The mountain shotgun stunning down 2 people out there though. Bitter almost trying to clear out that way. Will manage to do so, but Wise is just left on an island alone. He's constantly fighting with Wubba and I have no clue why. Wants to try and maybe take this one turtle down, but doesn't really have anything left with. Out in the mid lane, there we go, the raging slashes. The birds not sustaining through that. My lobby flickers in a direction where he does not want to go. Still gets in a bit more sustain out here. Wants to try and run back to safety as Cupcake picks a Wubba. My lobby. No way he survives through this one, right? No way he stays alive. He will! That is just insane from this man. You give him anything in the EXP and he shows you the best way of playing that.
I just wanted to say that the flicker was so useless, but look at him, he's alive. So who am I to judge? He left. So such a great escape coming from my lobby. He played it to perfection. I don't know if we caught that because the fight was happening in the mid lane as well. But there was a moment when he flickered out, then he went like next to a wall. He went for the lane shaker combination. He still was able to use the damage reduction on the second skill, and then he jumped over the wall after he transformed. It was so pivotal. It was so mechanically well expressed that there is nothing you could say to that, man. It was so wonderful. But the thing is, Metashift are scaling up, and 2000 gold lead will make it so much easier. Another item completed for God Believer, and so right now Mesa Esports should really be thinking about going to Faith, because only God might help them from this one, because their opponents are outscaling hard.
I'm loving the fact how there's no early dominance size pickup by Metashift right now. They knew they don't need that attack speed reduction out here. My lobby forcing away that ultimate. XTRYL, it's going to be shut down. Better with the Chaos Assault was able to take him down, though should have the Brilliance available to sustain through all of that as Wubba now caught in an island alone. It's going to be shut down instantly thanks to the Thorn Rose, the knock up, and the bird nowhere to fly out here as Cupcake picks up the pick on her. God Believer getting shut down for the 6th time in this game. Wise. It's fine. He missed out onto that Phantom Execution, but it doesn't matter. But the Mountain Shock definitely does as Cupcake almost getting shut down out of there. The Raging Slush is used up to push back 8-1-2. Pelmetronio is there, but I don't think so that man could do anything. Pancake is in front of him. And that's a grok as big as a mountain you don't want to face.
Well, right now the gold has been equalized, so that's super important for Mesa Esports. But the thing is, their comp isn't as strong as their opponents in the late game. So right now, they might be on the horse.
Oh my goodness, XTRYL, he's all alone. No one's gonna be saving him right now. The tier 1 invade gets taken down, but there we go. Why he's hopping in as well. Goes in for the Phantom Execution. The flicker into the Tectonic Charge. Catches 2. Double kill comes in for Pancake. This man on a grok is literally stealing kills.
Yeah, but who cares? They are winning the game.
That's the fun fact about it. Lord marching down on the top lane. There's only 3 players right now to help them defend. And guess what? 812's got to use his dash preemptively. Can't even save the tier 2 up in mid. Maybe the passive of the tower. Right at the edge, alright. It's gonna survive on for the next wave out here as the Lord still marching up on top. Radiant armor being picked up for XTRYL. Finally, he'd be able to sustain through that burst coming in from Bitter. Pelmetronio is trying to deal with the Lord as well, taking him right at the edge though. 11 minutes already in, man. Come on. Let your tower passive go in. Holy smokes, Cupcake is going to be taken down again. Bit of a misposition coming in, but guess what? Wise wants to rush in. Dashes up on the face. A shutdown on 812 with the Thorn Rose. 812 did everything to survive, but couldn't do anything else. XTRYL with a flicker combination as well. I don't think so that was necessary, or rather, he's still trying to get, or rather extend this team fight. Waiting for Pelmetronio to hop in. Still got his flicker available right now, so that wasn't really a flicker, just a skill 1 play.
Also, Endless Battle was just completed for V, so he will be so much stronger than what he just showed, but the execution on that part was just so flawless. Honestly, if there's one thing you can pinpoint and you can talk about for this finals, is definitely the mechanics. Alright, Macro, sometimes it's talking about mechanics.
Yeah, right now, those mechanics are something that could eventually save your life right now, but not for XTRYL, because he's got nothing left in his skill set to sustain. A lovely land shaker to stun down Wubba-Lubba-Dub-Dub, but guess what? Who's going to save out this bird? Trying to fire away on all cylinders, run out from the back. It's Wise who's going to be saving his own life, though maybe not Pelmetronio. And I'm pretty sure that was the tornado passive of the Wind Talker, which eventually got him. It bounces off of 3 people. Eventually gets that shut down on Wise. Finally, this Lancelot's been caught, and 10 seconds for this Lord. This could be a big shift in terms of the momentum for meta shift.
Yeah, speaking about shifts, there's something that Blue Team is definitely waiting for. Immortality completed for one of the members of MEC Esports, so that means he will be even harder to kill. You have to kill him twice. Yeah, I think it's a Grok, so this Grok can go even more crazy. 8,000 for Lord.
Oh, Pancake steals it away! The Retribution messed up as Cupcake gets 8-1-2 now. My lobby all alone between 4 people, but there we go. The Ruby DD combination not yet coming in. He wanted to go for the Chaos Assault a bit more out. Wubba-Lubba-Dub-Dub. Yeah, there's a ball. He's not surviving that. Oh, hold on a second. He's actually survived. Wait a second. Look at Wise. 1 basic attack, all he needs. It's a double kill for Cupcake. Catches another one. It's a 3-for-0 trade. And a lot stolen away. This game is going in for a 3-0.
So far it looks like it. Maybe Alice and Forza can defend. Xtrill going 1v5, my man. What are you cooking up? I see you have your new shiny helm in your kit, but now they have to defend 2v5.
Yeah, and also the Mounted Shocker, it's available now. It's going to be trying to use it as well to get a stun onto someone, but the crystal is wide open now and everyone's targeting it. There's no one to save this one as MEC Esports 3-0ing this game against Metashift, my lobby against Pelmetronio. And this is what we are seeing in a best of 5. Foreign, I never imagined that.
Well, those last 2 games, they looked like they could be putting you into a full BO5, but unfortunately the first game wasn't that good, that well executed. And honestly, even if you talk about the second and third game, it wasn't flawless. For the side of MEC Esports, definitely it wasn't flawless either. There were some mistakes, but it was as close to flawless as you can really get if you are in upper bracket finals. The game was executed very well. The power spikes used to perfection, and Grok, the man, the myth, the legend. The third game was all about Grok, all about Pancake, and even in the first, even in the second, he was showing his horns. He was playing very well, but this third game just secured it. If you have to talk MVP upper bracket finals, it has to be Pancake.
Oh my goodness. It was like, what, a 10-15 minute brawl game in 3 different lanes, which we actually saw. Everyone's fighting everyone on every single minute of the game. And even in that, it's MEC Esports to win it out, right? 2 games, fully structured from MEC, winning out into the micro in the draft. And then in the third one, they pull off something like this against that double marksman composition where we thought maybe the Yisun Shin and the Irithel would be pretty good in terms of that scaling. Guess what? I probably underestimated Bitter in that case. Even Cupcake as well. It was picked off 6 times, but it was still doing so much damage in those entire team fights, constantly dropping in the void crystals, the void blasts. It was always present. And Wise, man. His Lancelot was so amazing to see.
By the way, don't you agree that Pelmetronio should have definitely went for more defensive shoes? Of course, it's a little bit of a nitpick, but I feel like either the tough boots for less CC and some magic defense or the other shoes for extra armor could really help, because no one from your team is keeping your opponents away from you. Babalabadabdab, he is the engage, yes, but he cannot keep them away. Xtril, he doesn't really do anything for you. He is there, he does damage, he's annoying the opponents, but he is not stopping anyone. So I feel like it's kind of surprising to see Pelmetronio go for these shoes. Of course, it offers more utility. Your spells come online much sooner, so those rotations are much quicker. But I don't know if I'm a fan. Of course, I'm not saying that this was the reason why they lost, but it's a little bit surprising. Of course, if we look at it as a whole picture, you have to praise Pancake. Just looking at the score once more, he was doing so much work, and together with the rest of the squad, Bitter winning out his lane. Of course, he was put in an advantageous position, so he was supposed to win the lane, but he did it indeed. So he understood his quest perfectly. He knew what he has to do. Waze, even though he got outshined by Pancake, specifically in this game, he still did a lot. He still done so much damage. He was making sure that the targets were getting pushed away. He was destroying the tempo and the flow of the teamfight for meta shift, because Xtril went in, Babalabadabdab went in, but then Wei went for 812, Pelmetronio or God Believer, and suddenly the fight was split. Xtril wasn't getting the air support he needed together with Babalabadabdab, so they got just focused down and they died.
Yeah. I agree. I was also trying to figure out what Pancake was eventually making as the last item, right? He had the Azure Blade, so you can make a Stallium Scythe with that. I believe a couple of more items. I just want to have a look at that later on, though. As we have a look at the amount of damage tanked, again, Swabble-up on the side of Meta Shift, tanking the most amount of damage. My lobby really not on top with that chart, but it's fine. You've got to compete with a Grok as well as a Basha. That too in a composition which has got what? 2 marksmen, as well as a Farsa. Good luck trying to survive all of that. But yeah, all in all, it was a pretty fun game between both of these teams. But man, oh man, this has been an absolute nightmare game for any play-by-play person to be on the casting desk out here, because the amount of fights that we saw, it was insane, my man. It was just insane.
It's something you would possibly expect from the last game of lower bracket finals, but we got it here. Third game, 3-0 for Mesa Esports, and well, it looks like meta shift will be shifting into the lower bracket. But that's a story to be told in the future, because right now we will be jumping into a break, so we can let Scared cool off after those crazy brawls that were happening all over the map. So, quest for you. Put up that like, click the like button, share the stream, invite your friends, because the stream today, the cast today still continues. Don't run anywhere, just over, maybe to get some water, maybe to get some snacks, because we will be right back after this short break.
bracket final ending in the win for Misa Esports. Eventually led Metashift to be up here in front of us right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we will be moving to the very last match and the last chance qualifiers for the MEC Fall 2025, the lower bracket finals between Metashift and Carpadium. You're gonna have Warren and me Scared Yet alongside with you guys to basically tell you the story of what's gonna happen here. But Warren, Metashift against Carpadium. This one seems difficult for Metashift.
Well, now it will be a story of how the upper bracket can match up to the lower bracket, right? Because obviously Metashift, since they got pushed down into the lower bracket just now through the upper bracket finals, that means that their run was flawless. They didn't lose a single series. So for Carpe Diem running through that, like, it's always those two separate scenarios where either the team falls down into loser bracket by a mistake or by some unfortunate event, and they make it through, they battle it out, they become stronger, they become tougher, they become more formidable opponents, and then they will take it by storm. Or it could be a different story, and that is they went into the loser bracket for a reason, and that reason is that, well, they are worse. So we will see what will be the story of this lower bracket finals. Of course, now it can be said that the crowned winners, well, we are not really counting the first place, but you can kind of say that, right? The crowned winners of the Bowl last chance would be Mesa Esports, and since they already qualified through the first place with no single series lost. Right now, it will be against Metashift or Carpe Diem to either join them or fall while trying. It will be the last team to be joining the Thunder division together with promotion relegations, qualifiers, winners in the regular season. Of course, still those two slots of invited teams, so that's something to still think about. That's something that can still happen, but I don't mean it in a way that the teams can step off the fuel and be like, all right, yeah, we get invited anyway. Because I have a strong feeling that the invited teams will be teams to mix it up and shake things up. I don't think it will be a spot for people that didn't have a chance, you know, like, I don't think it will be a charity, you know. So they definitely need to try their best. And Metashift against Carpe Diem. Well, if the third game from the upper bracket finals, the last game of the BO5, taught us anything, it's that Metashift love to brawl. And when they brawl, they are in their element.
I think so, yes. That is going to be one of the things which Carpadium will look forward to. The brawly compositions which we saw in that previous game. But the fun fact is out here, you were talking about the momentum, right, Warren? Metashift have entirely lost that momentum. There is no wins in their sail. 3-0 defeat up in the upper bracket finals. Now they're moving all the way down, while Carpadium on the other side, they have played some long games with Loyal Sword. If I'm not wrong, the first two games that they played, they were 30 minutes each. And then Carpadium won the third one, eventually moving with a 2-1 victory. So Carpadium have won their previous game, while Metashift have faced a defeat. That's going to be a bit of a problem for them now, as they'll be running into this best of 5 series as well, right? Now, I wanted to talk about the fatigue on the players, the stamina, which we always talk about, right? For how long can you play? But I don't think so. That's going to be a bit of an issue out here, because both these teams have played 3 games each before this one.
That's true. That's something to be said for sure. And I love how you spin it, that you spoke about Carpe Diem having that victory streak, you can say, because series-wise, well, they just won a series, and game-wise, well, they won 2 out of 3. So definitely their mentality should be in the better shape than for the side of Metashift. But of course, we will see how Metashift can kind of adapt and cool off, because, well, it wasn't just us that had 20 minutes, they had 20 minutes as well. So that should be plenty of time for an experienced player to cool himself down. And maybe if you have someone new in your roster, well, then you can talk about it, you know, kind of give them tips to cool down themselves. So I'm feeling like this defeat, of course, it can matter, but I'm feeling like 20 minutes should be plenty of time to go back into it. But Speaking about this, as a matter of fact, the first game, in my opinion, will be super important because the first
True.
game will really set the pace for the whole series. Because if it's Carpe Diem winning, well, then they basically won the 3 out of 4 games, so that will suddenly be a big spore of confidence into their veins. Whereas if Metashift are able to take it back and win the first game of the series, well, then suddenly the confidence is back in them. So I'm feeling like the first game will be super crucial.
I agree. It's going to set the entire momentum for both of these teams out here, right? And the fun fact is now we've already seen what Metashift likes to play along with. We have seen like the draft 3 different times out here, right? And I think so that's going to be a bit of a tool which even Carpe Diem could work on with right now, since their game was not streamed out here. So they can eventually bring in some nice surprises into the mix out. On the other end of the spectrum, again, we know that XTRY likes to play on the Alice. God Believer has shown his Farsas, has also shown his Skimmies. 812 is pretty flexible in that jungle. Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, pretty flexible into that roam position as well. And we already know about Pelmetronio and how deep his hero pool goes. So I think so in terms of draft, Metashift don't really have any problems. They've got a very deep hero pool to work with. It's about Carpe Diem, which I'm a little bit worried, since we don't really have a lot of data. We don't know what they like to pick in those specific lanes, if they've got some comfort picks or not. And 5 games are technically pretty less to try and figure all of that out, right? You would want to play for your own win conditions, for your own compositions. And we did see what happened to Metashift when they tried that. I think so they're better off countering what Carpe Diem's going to bring in game 1.
For sure. Well, they were definitely trying to figure it out. And in the third game, it really looked like they finally got it, that they have the recipe for victory. But then Pancake happened. And I will stop glazing him for now, since now it's all about the rosters of Carpe Diem and Metashift. But one more time, let me give praise to Pancake, because that Grok was something else.
I mean, if there's a Grok player like that in your team who's making sure that he's giving you some nasty sets while also securing the finishes which you are technically supposed to secure, you know what? I'm all in for that Grok. He was always up on front, making so many problems for God Believer as well as Pelmetronio. I think so that was one of the biggest thorns for the side of Metashift to try and cross, because every single time you've got that kind of Grok up in front of you, can't really go for those engages. You know that Grok will eventually shut you down. He's got a lot of tools in his arsenal. And I think so Metashift will now have to look in a way of drafting where you either prioritize the Groks or you either ban out the Groks. Just do not let Carpe Diem pick it up. Otherwise, there's going to be some major problems. But on the other end of the spectrum, right, yes, even I want to see what kind of drafts we'll be seeing, what kind of map we are going to see, ladies and gentlemen, as we have a look at the map locking. I think so it could be Expanding Rivers. It is Expanding Rivers, all right.
Oh, you again with your future sync abilities. Scared you have to really teach me that, because honestly, living my life of winning lottery tickets, yeah, that sounds like a dream. So yeah, we definitely will have a couple of minutes after the whole event ends on the Discord. You will have to tell me all the things about that. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone for sure. Well, looking into the draft, Metashift against Carpe Diem. We see Metashift on the blue side. Metashift, you cannot really say which side is their better side, since they lost
Right.
on both of those sides, right? But especially the last game when they were they were on the red, right? So this is kind of an interesting approach, because right now they are, oh wait, they didn't have a choice of side, right? This is the first game, so they are the team on top, so they get the blue side, whereas Carpe Diem are unfortunately the waiting team on the red position, so they are the ones for the red side. So just based upon that, I'm a little bit fearful for Metashift, because they so far didn't look like a very confident team when it comes to the blue side pickup.
I think so, yes, right. And even with the bans that we can see right now from their side, it's a Uranus ban, into the Lunox ban as well. And it's more of a comfort bans that they're actually going with. On the other end of the spectrum, Carpe Diem, they'll have to prioritize the Zushin, maybe even the CC into the mix. And then the question begins if they want to ban out the Yisun Shin, because we have seen 8-1 to pick it up quite a few times. Maybe you'd want to Then in the latest stages, try and ban out those Hayabusas. It's a lot of things that you kind of need to work with. But for meta shift out here, that's my main focus. Are they still going to prioritize the Basha?
It's something left in the cards. The cards will tell us, but right now it looks like they really hate Eve. So Eve, Lunox will be gone. A lot of big damage dealers, big magic damage dealers, big AoE magic damage dealers are off the board. So that either tells us a story that they really hate those three heroes and there is no coincidence, like there is no pattern there, or it tells us a story that they really want to go for some team comp that sticks together. And if we are talking team comps that stick together, it would be some typical front to back composition with solid backline, solid front line, so possibly thinking about something like Kimi.
Could be a very good choice. I was about to mention the same as well, since she's been led through this banning phase, but so is the Farsa, right? So if you pick up an early Kimi, that means you're giving away the guard of Farsa on the other side or the Basha. So I mentioned meta shift. They've been liking to pick that Basha up. They've showcased it a couple of times previously. So they're going to lock it as well. A big question mark if it's going to go in the hands of Avalaba Dub or 812. But throughout the previous few games, we have seen 812 lean in a bit more towards those damage-dealing, flashy assassins, right? So I think so that's something Carpedium could also have a read on. And maybe they can try and prioritize a Kimi.
It's Jason Chin and Tuzong, those two big guys. Well, one big guy and one little bit smaller guy. Both start with J. So, yeah, that's something they have in common. And also, both of them are pretty hard to deal with. Yuzong with so much healing, Jason Chin with so much mobility coming from him, and being pretty formidable for a guy that's still ranged, of course, when he switches. Alright, but answering with Hayabusa could be solid, though I have to say, isn't it a little bit too early for Hayabusa, because your opponents can still go for Ruby Gold Line?
That's the big question mark. Are Carpedium going to prioritize an early Ruby Gold Lane or not? If they do, they're revealing a lot of cards in their hands. But if they don't, then there's a big chance that Meta Shift would eventually ban her out in the next banning phase. Abu Amr Jr. as well picking up the Yu Zhong. Now here's the thing, Warren. Even in the previous matchup that was against Misa Esports, we had XTRYL against the Yu Zhong of my lobby in game 1. And XTRYL got owned in that game, if anything. Yes, he was struggling a lot in the lane itself. Was not really winning out that lane against the Yu Zhong. And now since Abu Amr Jr. has picked it up, I think so it's going to be a bit of a problem for him to deal with again. Also, adding the Grok into the mixture, you've got that solid roam being picked up, a full-fledged dive for Carpedium. I'm liking their draft.
Speaking of the devil, right? Almost as if you knew scared. I have to get to the bottom of this. You know the future too well.
I mean, my favorite character is Akagami no Shanks from One Piece, so if you watched One Piece, you'd probably know.
Well, one more time, jokes aside, possibly there will be more jokes coming your way, just making sure you kind of expect that. But on the serious note, right now the drafts are looking pretty decent, but though I have to say a little bit decentier if I could create this board for Carpe Diem, because Brock, Jason, Shin Yuzong, pretty straightforward, and they are kinda the ones coming up with this front to back, whereas Metashift don't really have that in their bag, because Hayabusa needs to find flanks. Alice, alright, she's an initiator, but again, not a frontline, like well, she is a frontliner, but she isn't forcing the opponents to not get on, like she isn't stopping anyone from getting on top of you. She can engage, she can get the CC. Alright, Rubyben, I quite like that. You have to give it to Metashift. They read this very well. But the answer will be Kimi.
Understandable as well. I mentioned that if you don't really pick up the Ruby, it's going to be banned out on the other side, along with the Harvatha as well. Now, since Kimi has been picked up, Farsa has been banned out, along with the Valentina ban. I'm actually really liking it. Now, that means the only answer that Metashift can pick right now is going to be a Novaria. I don't really see any other pick out here since Lunox was banned out by them. Kagura? Nah. Sicilian?
Why do you think what I think, Scared?
It's a too much late game, my man. It's a way too much late game composition. How are
Well,
you gonna
still
win
you
out?
have Granger and Hayabusa for the early mid game, so not that heavy, but I agree. Oh, it's Bane. I wanted to say, if the idea for Carpe Diem is not to go Angela mid with Grog, because we already saw it working super well, but no, it will be Bane together with Kimi, so there's so much damage. And honestly, looking at the composition of meta shift, who's gonna tank them? And I will tell you, spoiler warning, no one. No one can tank the damage.
That's the biggest thing out here, which you mentioned, man. Who's gonna be soaking up that damage? It's only the Bash out here. Alice as well. 3 people pretty squishy on the other side. You've got the Grog, you've got the Yu Zhong, and best worldwide with the Bane in that gold lane. The magic build Bane is gonna be so annoying to deal with. I mean, it's still a pretty squishy lineup for Carpedium as well, right? So the Hayabusa will have his own opportunities in the game. But ladies and gentlemen, we're only potentially 5 games away from finding out the last team that can qualify to the regular season of MEC Fall 2025. Which one is it going to be? Will it be Metashift as Pelmetronio is looking to reach back at the former glory? Or will it be Carpedium who are looking to rise on top than the pro players of EU? We will find that out in the next few games as we move into the game 1.
Already we see Metashift having the prio in mid lane, but does it really result in anything? Well, so far it looks like, because Xtro with that prio is using it up for that gold craft. Wubalabadabda with rotation. Immobilized, 812 will be trying to play some poke action happening there. Mio, oh, big poke coming from Cecilion. Great connection, as God Believer needs to treat himself. He is immobilized, he could be going down, he's still alive. Abalabadabda tanking it up. Wave will be collected, and Virtusenko is the one who needs to run. Flicker, great pull coming from God Believer, as first blood goes to Vabalabadabdab. No, my man. If it went to Cecilion, that would have been just that little tiny bit better, but well, since the situation was so hectic and you really wanted the kill, well, whatever, man.
It's fine. As long as they get that pick off, right? That's what they need. But again, it's Virtusenko, it's the Grog, it's fine. It's gonna be a-okay a little bit later on into the game itself right now. It's the bottom lane that I'm really focused on. Pelmetronio onto that Granger against best worldwide on the Bane. You know that Granger is supposed to win that lane, but trying to save that, or rather freeze the entire wave in his own favor. Mio getting to that level 4 as well. Should be a bit more priority in that turtle pit. God Believer, he'll be having the Bat's Feast too to help him out with the sustain.
And right now it looks like Virtusenko will be helping Vabalabadabda not to leave really, but to stay, because it looks like he made for some good coffee. But Vabalabadabda isn't drinking coffee apparently, so he runs away.
He's gonna try and maybe sustain himself out there though, Mio.
Talking about moving back. Can Mio sustain the onslaught? He cannot. Xtro puts him down. Virtusenko now with Big Tech turn charge available. He knocks up 2 members, and Zane looks like he wants no smoke. He left. I'm sorry, but this was such a big disconnect coming from Virtusenko and Zane. I have no idea why he didn't continue to fight. He was almost full HP, 1 level ahead. I have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, at this point, again, Carpedium not really getting the things that they really wanted to get out there in that turtle pit. It was a bit chaotic though. The playmaking of XTRYL. We have seen this man to make some nasty good plays, getting those 4-man, 5-man setup every single time. And that's exactly what he's good at. Neo, on the other hand, on that Kimi though. This is one of the first few appearances of that man on Kimi, at least on stream. Plus, considering the fact that he's also laning against God Believer, it's going to be a bit more problem to try and win.
And talking about problems, God Believer needs to flicker out. There's Vabalabadabda making some space, but he is immobilized himself. Big Mountain Choker, he almost goes down, needs to use his ultimate defensively. Of course, how other would you use it? Oh, 812 going for Zane, but Zane is alive. He is tricky. He is tricky to catch.
That was such a good dash coming in from Zane, man. That was amazing to see. Otherwise, the Shurikens would have definitely given that pick away to 812. Fun fact, that one in the bottom, another engage.
Deadly catch came from Best Worldwide, and so far it doesn't look like Vabalabadabla really wanted to take this fight because he gets bursted down immediately. I don't see the vision, but talking about vision, 812 is seeing something himself in the top side, forcing Black Dragon form away. So that means free turtle for meta shift.
At this point, I just feel that, you know, there's a couple of good plays being made by Metashift, and then they kind of rush up on the third thing. It's going to be a 4v5 out in the turtle, though, so the advantage should be in the hands of Metashift.
Turtle is just gone. Vabalabadabla may be getting caught. He will ult up, so he is alive. Virtusenko getting poked up, so God Believer stacking this the Ceciline passive even more. Mio gets put down. 812 going for more. Amber Jr. is the target. He doesn't have Black Dragon form. He gets put down. Double kill for 812 as he makes his name known on the map. 2 kills for this man.
Oh, Virtusenko. He's got to run back to safety as well. Nice wall being put up just to make sure that there's a gap between the players. But now, again, Metashift will be sending 812 onto those side lanes. Since it's over 5 minutes, Zayn is going to have some trouble.
I have to say one thing, and that is Carpe Diem finally taught their roamer to not go full damage. So that's a big improvement from yesterday. I'm happy I'm not seeing Endless Battle on as a first item on this Grok.
I mean, that's fair. That's probably only with the Khalid that they eventually go for. It's kind of fine. Oh, Best Worldwide.
But talking about Endless Battle, Best Worldwide gets put down, so he won't be Endless Battling anymore. 812 gets put down himself, and the Volt jungle is available for the taking. I don't understand why Carpe Diem don't go for it. Of course, the mid lane pressure is important as well, but the purple buff or the lizard at least could have been taken out.
Down bot.
But talking about taking out, Virtusenko could be took out as he gets put down. Extra with a kill, and 1v1 Amar Jr. against Pelametronio. Pelametronio got chomped on by the big Black Dragon himself.
And now he's going to run back to safety as well. The fight in the bottom lane was started by Zayn when he was trying to clear out that bottom wave, and he saw the position of Pelmetronio. He went in instantly with the Mountain Shocker. Did not really get that stun in on point though, but a lovely follow-up by Arbomber Jr., making sure that Pelmetronio is not really able to farm up that freely. I agree that Carpe Diem could have eventually gone in for a bit of an aggressive play, stealing away the farm, but seems like they want to play it passive.
Well, don't talk about passive. When looking at this jungle fight, river fight, Zayn already running away. Vabalabadabda with his ult already popped. God Believer popping his own. Virtusenko missing completely with the Tectonic Charge. Unfortunately, he couldn't reposition through Flicker, so he gets put down. And second turtle should be going in the hands of Metashift as they make their way around here. Ixu with an engage completely misses, unfortunately, but Zayn is now in trouble. Big hook in or pull in coming from God Believer. Amar Jr. picks up killing spree. He barely survives, but the turtle should be going in the hands of Metashift as Zayn gets put down. Zayn, you shouldn't have been there.
A big pick off coming in out there though. I'd have to say that big revitalize from Wobblaba Dub Dub helped him sustain through that first burst. Mio could not pick him off. Another back fit, another fight.
Talking about picking someone off, Best Borvas barely survives. 812 also almost goes down, but God Believer finishes Best Borvat off, and he even emotes back on the way to the tower.
Nice flicker from God Believer, just running away from that traction pulse at the right second, making sure that he's surviving. Did not really get the Litho Wanderer there, but it's absolutely fine now. Pelmetronio is going to be playing that annoying Granger, constantly having that mobility to work with thanks to the Death Sonatas as well as the Rhapsody out here. But have a look at the items out here. Perfect. Lovely production, man. As soon as I was about to talk about it. He's probably going in for the Malefic gun out here right now. So again, those anti-cuirasses which will be picked up. Virtusenko picks up the first one right now. They're not really going to help them out so much so. An Oracle being prioritized by Armor Jr. That means he still will not be able to tank a lot of damage, but would be able to make a decent amount of play. One of them we're seeing out in mid.
Oh, talking about mid, God Believer could be in trouble. Mountain Shocker finishes him off together with Mio. He gets put down, he dies away. Shouldn't really change that much, costs 30 seconds for Lord, so probably not anything else you can get from this. But Hayabusa patiently waiting in the top side, maybe for some poor soul that would wander into the top side of the map.
but they're not really focusing it. Carpadium are just trying to brawl it out. They're happy to fight Meta Shift. They're gonna go for the 5v5 fights, and another one. Bruise yet again. Sky Piercer being picked up by Mio. Didn't really get any major kills before this one, so now Mio would be looking in to get a few, but Zayn is also farming up. So you know that he'd be picking off some big kills as well out here for the Lord fight.
Black Dragon form, he goes for the right target. Petrify on Palmetronio, he needs to flicker out. Big wall coming from oh yes, Tectonic Charge, I just had it on my tongue that it should be happening. Emmer Jr. is still trying to survive, but Zayn was able to steal it away. Shut down for God Believer though. But 2 for 1, and you get Lord on top of that. Carpe Diem, they are back in the game.
Big play coming in from Abo Amar Jr., I'd have to say. Sending Pelmetronio all the way back and forcing back God Believer as well.
Talking about setting someone back, Bezvorvat almost got set back into his own base. X-Trail trying to chase for more. Virtusenko still alive. He has his flicker available, so he could be playing on the limits, on the knife's edge. But it isn't necessary to burn down your flicker. Though Zayn, 1v3, he could be in trouble now. He immediately runs back to his jungle because he knows, he realizes that this Lord will just take this one tower as they make a retreat. But what a successful play from Carpe Diem.
As of now, yes, I agree. Carpadium getting that Lord, stealing away at the perfect time as well, was pretty good. But another fight out in mid.
Well, and since the last 5 was so successful, of course, they will go for more. They will go for another one. Vabalabadab that almost dying out. He dies out. There is Hayabusa. Yugi Shirokyo gets separated into 4 members. He almost himself dies. Virtusenko flickers over the wall in the last second. And Amar Jr. will tank this one tower shot. Oh, wait, it will matter a lot because he almost gets put down. Mio face tanking all the shots from Pelmetronio for his poor Yuzong. And the play is still happening in the bottom side where Bane is 1v1 against X-Trail. But I don't think X-Trail will let him off the hook just easily. He's still making a ruckus. He's not letting him leave. And best for for a sec I thought he could live because the ale heals, yo, they were crazy. But in the end, Best gets put down.
It's not still enough right now because I'm pretty sure there's some dominance ice effects or at least the anti-heal effect coming in as well. We're having a look at the gold right now. It's pretty evenly spread out in the first 4 people, right? You've got the Granger for the first one and then followed up by Best Worldwide and Zayn as well on the Eastern Shin. And then you have God Believer along with 812. So top 5 people, all main damage dealers, but it's 3 from Meta Shift. So should potentially be happy. The only concerned person I think on the other side is going to be Mio. With only 6,500, doesn't really have some big items in his arsenal.
Pause.
If anything, it's probably going to be just 2 major items and they're trying for the third one out here. But again, looking at the entire composition, right? You've got the Yi Sun Shin, you're running in with the Bane. You know that the late game is very well secured for your team. Kimi was, let's just say, your early game insurance, didn't really work out. But even in the late game, the Kimi scaling is going to be pretty decent, right? On the other side of the spectrum, though, I can't really say the same thing.
Also, she is going, well, she already has that Sky Piercer, and if there is one thing about Kimi is that she very easily spreads out her damage through the whole fight, so she will be getting most of the time some of those stacks. So it will be getting stacked up anyway, and your opponents wouldn't really go for you. You are not the priority target. They want to go for Jisunshin. They want to go for someone else, not you, because you are so far not that big of a threat. So I can see Kimi coming online later in the game. Of course, if the game will come into those later stages of itself. But right now, looking at the opposing side, Metashift with a strong show of force, firstly, when we were in the early phases of this game, but suddenly, it's not happening the way they want it to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, things haven't really been going in with the way how Metashift wanted it. Then I don't think so. It's just the story of this game. This has been happening to them since the previous one. Like all 3 games, if anything. They do have the control. They look like that this team is actually going to win, but then eventually they just throw everything. Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise for me every time whenever I see them play out here. As we have a look at the itemizations too. Sky Piercer into the Wind of Nature being picked up just to survive The onslaught of Abu Amr Jr. as well as Zayn out there. I do like the itemization from Metashift right now. They don't really have any major dominance ices going on though. But I don't think so that's a bit of a problem. The anti-heal is still there thanks to God Believer. And he's been hitting some nasty shots, but yeah, there we go. Again, always finding out the positions of the other people. Now with the Cursed Helmet, Radiant Armor picked up for XTRYL, Mio will have to be very safe in his positionings. Otherwise, he will be instantly picked off.
Well, talking about picking off, it looks like Virtusenko is picking on Vobalabadabdab, and he is not making his life very easy, as we will see this Lord spawn onto the Land of Dawn. Right now, the goal has been equalized, but the thing is, Carpe Diem will be outscaling their opponents. Of course, there is a little bit of that late game security in the form of God Believer, right? But he will need to come online later in the phases of the game. Right now on 3 items he will be getting more, but can he get more if his roamer gets put down? I don't think he can. Killing spree for Mio, as they will be probably going for this Lord. Malefic Gun completed for Zayn, but Metashift has something to say about it. Xprio with a backline engage. Petrify goes for... not really goes for Petrify, right? Because it's Xprio on the LA. Zayn gets put down though, and Hayabusa is trying to finish the Lord. Retribution still available, he gets it. 8-1-2 with a steal. Not really a steal, right? No one was there, so he just kinda took it. Pametronio still alive. Pametronio finishes off Virtusenko, and suddenly Metashift with a shift in the game.
That was a massive play again by XTRYL, jumping in the enemy backline, instantly putting their entire formation apart. That basically created an opening for 8-1-2 as he moved in behind the Lord Pit towards that the green crab bush or the bug bush, which we normally talk about, and then went in for the Oogie Shadow kill on Zayn. He was isolated there. So he got every single stack on him right. And on the back of it now, Carpe Diem, they don't really have anything to work with. And this is the thing. You've got the Bane. Yes, good, amazing, crazy. But Metashift are not diving on you. And that is one of the big problems for the Bane to work with.
Well, talking about diving, this Yugi Shadow kill, luckily for Mio, there was 4 other members of the team, but if it was just him, he would be getting killed. Besvorva still trying to survive. He gets immobilized. Mega kill for Xtrio, and this Elise is super tanky. The vampire is sucking blood and health out of you because she is still alive. And Amr Jr. almost getting low himself, almost dying out. Metashift will be probably not able to end the game right here and there. But Carpe Diem, they have a knife on their neck.
At this point, you don't really have anyone who can actually pick off the Wobble Dub Dub and XTRYL unless it's a 1v5. That's what's happening. Another Oogie Shadow kill.
Spreading damage between everyone of Carpe Diem. Bordvat is still dead. You try to get the last tower on the top side. Try to go for it. Zayn half HP gone. 8-1-2. He is able to do it through his shadows. And there's Extra with immortality completed. Nowhere in your life you are killing this Alice.
He was just, what, eating every single shot of Mio, man. And he wasn't even tickling him. Zayn joined in as well. Neither one of them could actually pick this Alice off. I want to have a quick look at the items right now and see what Xtrill has built up at this point. Radiant Armor, Blade Armor, that is Athena Shield, all of them that for Wabbalaba Dub Dub. And then we've got 2 of those same items, Cursed Helmet, a lot of HP into the Immortality. So he's got, what, a full-fledged Kimmy shutdown kit. There's no Divine Glaive right now for Mio. No wonder he's not able to burst through this front line. And here's the thing. This matchup is not so much so as to who finishes off the enemy backline first. It is who sustains more. And looking at the builds, Wobbalaba Dub Dub and XTRYL will sustain more. Just because Carpe Diem's backline does not have enough damage to burst them down as quickly as the Grok and Abu Amr Jr. will be shut down. That's the big thing. No stacks on Skypiercer either, only 20. This should be a free Lord coming in for Metashift.
Oh, when they, like, just when you finish the sentence, it's gone.
That's the thing, right? Carpe Diem, as we can see right now, they're not that far behind in gold, right? 5,000 gold lead in what? 17-18 minutes of the game, that's fine. That means the last item is where the difference is. Everything else is already completed, so it's cool. But then at the end of the day, you really look at those last items now. Guardian helmet being picked up for Wobble Up a Dub Dub. No Divine Glaive for Mio. Who's gonna burst down this Basha? I don't see anyone. BOD picked up for 812 as well. Those are some major item power spikes as the Lord marches down in mid.
Well, talking about marching down, Mio needs to march down in his own base because he almost gets bursted. Now Virtusenko is the target, needs to use tectonic charge defensively. Winter Crown popped on Mio, Immortality popped on Virtusenko. They try to defend the base, half HP on base crystal. There's a fight happening, Amar Jr. in the backline, unstoppable. Quicks through, pulls down Zane, and this is the end of the first game.
Just as I was mentioning as well, right? A few switches off in those items, and that's what created the entire difference. Your backline not able to burst down the enemy front line, and eventually, on the back of it, Metashift claiming that game number 1. I love the way how Metashift itemized there. Yes, I know that we were kind of nitpicking about that in the previous series, but guess what? It just took them one series to learn from their mistakes and fix those, or rather patch those wounds up. Carpe Diem, on the other hand, though, had a decent draft, but it just did not finish things off that very well.
Though I have to say, I myself seen Carpe Diem once more on the stream, on the big screen. I have to say that I really like what happened, the transformation of Virtusenko from yesterday coming into today. Because yesterday this full damage Khalid wasn't the place that it was really fitting. And I really like what he did. I don't know if that's something that he had in his arsenal and he was just kind of goofing around and waiting if he will need to use the big guns. But I really like how he played on the Grog. Tectonic charge was very nice. Like, yeah, you can laugh sometimes it missed, but well, you miss all the shots you don't take, right? But I really like the transformation, and I'm feeling that Carpe Diem are different Carpe Diem than we saw yesterday. They are a different team, and it's a team that could possibly take this back. I see this universe is the universe where Carpe Diem can make it 1-1.
It could be possible. On the other end of the spectrum, if XTR YL gets his hand on this Alice again, I don't see that happening. They've got to ban out that Alice right now because yes, as much as we could say that early game was Amar Junior's, he was having his fun time, went in for the Hunter Strike as well. The Twilight Armor is a bit of a question mark for me though. Yes, good HP, but what else? I don't see any other use for that. The Bombardment of God Believer, either ways, it's magic damage. Yes, you can return some of that, but if you're really looking for a low HP heal, you might as well have gone in for the Queen's Wings at this point. I'm not quite sure about that one item.
Queen's Wings could have went a long way, especially if it reduces like all of your spells cooldowns, and Yuzong is one of the heroes that we have in the game who has 4 spells other than 3 that are typical for most of the heroes in MLBB. So you could really utilize the Queen's Wings to absolute maximum potential, and together with the damage reduction, I think it could be working. Because just imagine the situation where you cannot really get on Pelmetronio, that was how it happened most of the times, or on God Believer. But if you get bursted down enough, then you have another of your jumps, then you can use that second skill for gap close once more, then you have the first skill once again, even though the cooldown is already kind of low. So I would really like Queen's Wings a little bit more, or yeah, I think Queen's Wings would be the best choice possibly. But of course, Twilight Armor, I see the vision, but I feel like his biggest problem wasn't really that he didn't survive enough. It was mostly that he couldn't keep to his targets. Of course, Granger, pretty slippery. God Believer, pretty far away. And 812, well, you cannot pin it on Amar Jr. to go for 812. Like, he is not the man for the job.
Yeah, I kind of understand as well, though. Again, it was just one of the suggestions for Queen Wings. I think so. You definitely should have gone in either for a Radiant Armor or for an Athena Shield. I don't see any other way. But on the other side of the spectrum, it's absolutely fine, right? Yes, understandable with how this entire game went early on. You could say that Metashift had the control, then it was taken instantly away from them. Carpe Diem had the full control of the game. They took one Lord as well, almost trying to push those lanes. But after that, that's where the trouble began, right? That's when XTRYL started to jump in the back line. That's when Wubba Dub Dub was also tanking up every single piece of damage that was thrown at him. Like, you could see Carpadium had to use a lot of skills and spells to take Wubba Dub Dub down and try to keep XTRYL away from the backline. And that was one of the big reasons why they could not elongate those fights. They were eventually ending up soon. Either you pick one off or then you'd have to just run back to safety. You can't overextend those fights out here. Now it's going to be another story out, as we'll be having broken walls, ladies and gentlemen, and we will potentially see on the red side now Medishift playing on, while Carpadium will pick on that blue side. So it's going to be fun to see which kind of bans we're going to witness now, but I am expecting an Alice Respect ban.
For Broken Walls, that already tells us that the teams possibly want to play much more aggressive team comps, not that the way they played wasn't really aggressive enough per se, but it's already making it much more easy to play those aggressive comps. Of course, Yuzong loses a little bit of his value since he can go through walls, but if all the walls are broken, well then everyone can go through those walls, but I don't think it's such a big game changer for you to decide to not go Yuzong possibly, since he's already super strong in the meta. But honestly, Xtrill on that list, he finally showed us what he's made of, what can he do, and he looked like a completely different Xtrill than from what we saw in the last series when he was on LS. So either he learned something, or, and that's the more probable thing that happened, is that indeed MEC Esports were the top dogs of the qualifier, whereas right now Metashift have a little bit easier opponent on their hands. Not to confuse though with a series that should be one-sided, because I definitely think that Carpe Diem are not very far behind. I think it's pretty close, and if Metashift will drop their guard and stop the not keep up the focus, they can lose the ball.
That is one of the big things now, because eventually the fatigue will hit the players, right? Regardless of what we talk about, yes, it's basically pressuring both of these teams, but this is where mistakes start to happen. So you've got to still keep that focus up. You need to make sure that there's not a slight bit of mistake that you eventually make out here. Carpadium are making sure that they eventually force out one or the other mistake from Metashift. We'll have to see if that happens or not, right, Warren? Because again, in this game number 2 itself, the pressure is going to be on Carpadium. And this is the first win for Metashift in the previous 4 games that they have played. It was a 3-0 in the first series, right? And then they played this one game. Finally, they were able to take one away from the other side, but Carpadium now on the blue side will have a possibility of dictating the way how they want to draft. Since they are not forced to ban out a Jushin, they can let that slide through, can maybe ban out the Alice on the other side.
I don't want to draw the devil on the wall, but right now, as we already spoke about it before, the first game went to Metashift, so that really sets the tempo, sets the theme of the series. So I feel like Carpe Diem really need to switch things up. They need to come up with something strong. They need to come out swinging, because if they don't, if they get their foot from the fuel pedal, then Metashift will just destroy them. And if the second game goes in the favor of Metashift, I think that would be a huge hit to the confidence of Carpe Diem.
True. That is a big play, which you basically mentioned out here. You don't really want to let that second one go into the other side as well. So yeah, bringing it from a 2-0 deficit, it takes a lot of mental strength. You need to be tenacious. Jushin, Basha banned out, CC on the other side along with the Hayabusa. I wasn't really expecting a Hayabusa respect ban for 812, but you know what, it's fine. You got the possibility of picking up a Yi Sun Shin early on, so that could be one of the way to go. I say that they banned it out. They're like, yeah, we don't really want to pick it. We're happy giving Lancelot in the hands of Zane.
Well, so far it looks like that. And honestly, if there is one hero that makes it hard other than Hayabusa, for Lancelot to get on top of him, it would probably be Jisung out of the meta that we have. Possibly you could say Suyo, but Suyo was very long time from the meta, so that won't be happening for sure. But right now, of course, meta shift with the lead. Lancelot being banned out, so, and especially with the time Carpe Diem is taking right now, it feels like they got shot in the leg.
And Angela Fred is the main combination which I can see now to be picked up. I was about to say that in order to deny that, you've got to log in the Fredrin right at this moment. There is no other jungler that you can technically pick up apart from a Joy. And Fredrin is technically a straightforward counter of Joy. Angela?
Well, straightforward. No. I think straightforward is too strong of a word. Yeah, the Angela skip, I'm worried about it as well, scared, because right now Carpe Diem have it completely. It looks like Metashift is allergic to Angela. They either ban it or they don't play it. Like, there is no between. It's banned or they don't play it at all. Because for Carpe Diem to just go Angela and make Fredrin completely invincible is so easy in the cards. And I would be very surprised if Carpe Diem didn't go for it. Also, Angela, it could still mean that since Metashift are in the lead, and statistically speaking, they should be the stronger team in the series, just because they lost, they got into the loser bracket at the complete end. Maybe they have something. They have a rabbit in the sock. They have a rabbit in the hat. They have something that they have to for an answer.
At this point, just pick an Angela Alice, pick a Khalid in the room, go for damage. I don't mind. I'm absolutely cool with it as long as you're not the first primary engage of your team. And then in the gold lane, you can pick up something with the magic damage, maybe something along the lines of a Nitan. But guess what? They just entirely flip the switch. They go in for the Harith, which was left open along with an Esmeralda. It's going to be, again, one of the most boring lanes in the EXP to watch out for, back and forth trades, but picking a Harith into an Eve. Interesting.
Okay. I see the vision for Carpe Diem because Esmeralda already has a pretty decent matchup into Yuzong, other than before level 4, because before level 4 she's losing a little bit, but later in the phases of the game, especially mid-game, she beats Yuzong. When Yuzong gets anti-shield, then it's again playable, but that's typically around the later phases of the game. So Esmeralda is a pretty decent pickup for themselves, and this Harith being left open, that's just free for you. Of course, if you go your typical magic damage dealer, then there's a big problem happening for your side, and that means that there will be 3 magic damage dealers for your team. So Carpe Diem should really think, do we want to play something off meta on the mid lane, or can we put maybe even Esmeralda mid lane, even though it would be kind of spicy and kind of crazy. If you go your typical mid laner and you go triple magic damage, then it's making it so easy for Metashift to itemize against that. X-Trail, Fabalabadabda, both of them can itemize against that, and they will. Metashift will see that come in. They can correct their composition with the last pickup. So I think it's pretty dangerous to go for that typical composition with the magic damage dealer. Of course, yeah, I don't know if there is something you can pull out in mid lane. I'm just like talking from theoretical perspective. I think they will still go for it, but there is this big danger in the air.
There's the big thing, right? At this point, I'm a bit confused out here as to what can you really pick off as well. Khalid and Grok has been taken out. What are you going to pick up in the room? If anything, you're kind of forced to pick up the Angela, right? Or maybe a Godwood catcher, maybe if you want to. That could be a good pick.
Melissa goes for meta shift. So these big AoEs will be going in their way.
But again, the question still is there. What's the room for Carpe Diem? That's the big thing. I'll hop back on the camera once the rumor is revealed.
He's Bellrick, my man. He's Bellrick.
I'm not hopping back on the camera.
Alright, Carpe Diem, thank you so much. We will not see the pretty, beautiful face of Scared no more, because you decided to go Bellrick. Of course, maybe it's because they want to flex this nice skin, because if you play Bellrick, I mean, this skin is one of those good ones. Well, right now we see Fanny for the side of meta shift, so that already means that they are very confident in their mechanical ability to play it out. Zane will be, of course, running the Fredrin in the jungle, but 812, he could be getting caught off guard. That's something he needs to keep in mind. But Mio and Bezbor Wild will be the possible targets for his wrath. Babalabadabdab getting bursted crazily, but in retaliation, God Believer is able to dish out big damage on Mio. Virtusenko trying to tank up those skill shots, but still, Mio needs to use a flicker to survive. So that's already a burnt down flicker. 60 seconds for the first turtle, of course, spawning in the second minute mark. Zane not really being able to keep up the pace with 812. 812, of course, will be the faster jungler. So far, though, 812 doesn't have his purple buff yet, so those steel cables will not come for free. Well, they never come for free, but you know what I mean. They won't be recharging as often.
Yeah.
X12 with a 1v1 against Ebo Amar Jr. That's exactly what I was foreshadowing, and that's X12 should be winning early game, but then Amar will have so much shields that X12 will need to either itemize against that or decide not to fight him at all.
That's the big thing, right? You've got to try and make sure that you're not losing that lane. That is the big part about playing in that EXP. I'm liking what Metashift are doing. They're trying to get that mid out here. The fight, though, maybe.
Talking about fights, 812 picking this fight up. The tower actually didn't do quite much to 812. I was honestly surprised by that because I was expecting big chunk. And talking about big chunks, Mio, first blood against X-Trail.
We always talk about those anti-dive roamers, right? Whenever we want to dive in, you got to deal in with one of those anti-dive pick, which obviously tries to ruin things for you. We haven't really talked about Belirik a lot, and he is one of the best anti-dive heroes to play against. Alright, to play with, right? Another fight out.
Talking about anti-dive, can you stop X-Trail though? If he goes with the Black Dragon form, I don't think you can. Only thing you can do is avenge. You can avenge your mid lane. That's all you can do.
Only that one avenging is what really happened out there. But overall, if you think about it, it's a very easy turtle pick coming in for their side, right? So maybe Carpadium, they haven't really lost entirety of it. They still are trying to farm easily. There we go.
812 getting taunted up though, and he will get bursted down, and that's exactly why you have to respect Belric. And you cannot play like that. 812! Did you learn nothing in your ranked games? I feel like Belric is one of those guys that can punish you even in your ranks when you play Fanny.
I think so. That is probably the case. But there we go. Another fight out here. Not stopping anymore. Holy smokes.
The agreeable manipulation, pushing everyone away. But so far, God Believer maybe needs to start believing a little bit more in himself, because he only has 1 assist and no kills on his belt. Oh, now getting bursted down.
Wow!
Maybe he should stop believing for a bit, because this was overzealous. And talking about overzealous, 812 going for that backline engage, but he's still alive. And he is suddenly in the base, as Fanny does, right?
And look at Virtusenko. Instantly figures out that there's a lot of room to work in the jungle of 812, and they're instantly going in to steal it away.
Well, they will try to steal it away, but 812 has something to say about that. I think he got... No, wait. Oh, wait. No, Zane has it, right? It's on the bottom of his feet. Yeah, for sure. It's on top of him, but can he survive? That's the thing. No, he cannot. Babalabadabdab will kill him. No, Babalabadabdab will kill him for free. It's like a free taste when you go into your local supermarket. Talking about going into your local supermarket, Amar Jr. just went in there and took whatever he wanted. That should be a thievery.
It absolutely is. That's the big thing about it. But on the end, on the other side of the spectrum, you really... There we go. They're just not stopping, man. This is another brawly game happening between Carpadium and Metashift out here right now. It's been back and forth consistently, But Carpadium have had the longer end of the stick. Almost a 2,000 gold lead against an 8-1-2 Fanny in the jungle.
Well, talking about the Spectrum, God Believer needs to jump back into the part of the Spectrum where he can perform, because right now he's on that lower echelon where it's just not going so well for him. Virtusenko with a big Belric ultimate to force everyone away. Of course, the Glorious Pathway will make the chase available. Mio needs to fly away in the bird form, but so far so good. 2,000 gold lead for Carpe Diem. What happened with them? Did they have a coach talk to them? Did he made them believe once more? They are exchanged. They are completely different monster than in the first one.
I mean, you pick up a Fanny into the composition against a Fredrin. That's exactly what's going to happen to you.
And talking about bad things that can happen to Zane, punishing God Believer, and I find his name kind of ironic right now, how the game is going, because it doesn't really look like he believes in himself. Because 0-3, that's not looking in your favor, man.
Bonk as well on XTRYL. My goodness. It is just utterly disastrous for Metashift out here. They're losing out onto their early game. Pelmetronia almost getting that 1v1 win against Best Worldwide, but not really turning around whatsoever. There's constantly going to be those problems out here, right? 812 hasn't really been, let's just say, that very impactful on this Fanny. He's been trying to catch Mio, but Mio's been flying away through those walls. That's the best part out here. Broken walls, yes, you've got a lot more to work around with the Fanny, but at the end of the day, what are you supposed to do when you've got Zane on the other side on a Fredrin? You've also got a Belric up in front of you. A freaking tree that binds you to its roots. You don't really have anything to work with. And now, oh my goodness. The invade coming in too. No more purple buff. Now the problems begin for the Fanny.
It's exactly as are you saying. They, like, if Zane is able to steal away your camps as Fredrin against Fanny, well, that spells Doom for you. And right now, the Doom is called Carpe Diem, because the Doom is 4,300 gold ahead, and they will start another 5 big ultimates coming for Virtusenko. Big Town coming for X3, and X3 will get put down. Virtusenko gets the kill, but doesn't matter, because you still get it. You still get the turtle on top as you make Pelmetronio run away under his tower. 812 only trying to farm up in the bottom side.
Can they survive in the top tower? That's the big thing. They will have to retreat back to safety. And they will give up on the tower as well. Good decision coming in from Metashift. They cannot let this goal lead dip any further away from them than it already has. 812. All he can just do is try to get what bare minimum he can eventually get. But for how long? That's the question. Blade armor being picked up by Zane. He's going to be tanking so much damage now from Pelmetronio too. That's going to be big.
Well, talking about big, 812 trying to make those big plays, going for Mio, but Mio has the bird form, of course. Qua, run away, fly away, he will be fine. 5,500 almost for the side of Carpe Diem, as another fight happens in the Metashift's jungle. Zane in the thick of it. Oh, CC Immune, of course, flies in there. Black Dragon form, Xtro goes for more. 812 running away. Xtro, you are too underfed, my man. You cannot play this. Virtusenko goes down, but it's a roamer for XP later as they chase everyone away. Pelmetronio almost getting killed himself.
Save thanks to the regen. He was able to get some HP back as well. The burn was not enough. And again, 812. Man, he doesn't have the blue buff. He can't go for double, triple cables, right? He has to play it slow. And just because of that, he cannot get that double prey mark on top of his opponent, which helps him deal the maximum damage with the cutthroat. That has been a big problem for this man. All he can do is go in the EXP lane, clear that out, that's about it. Looking at the builds as well. Goes in for an early Malefic Roar as well. But again, no burst damage, which we are actually looking from this guy. And holy smokes, man. Mio on this Sparsa. He's been so annoying.
We're talking about annoying. It looks like Vabalabadabdav had enough of Zane, and he's saying, man, sit down. You are dead.
Finally, they were able to get that one person down. Now that's going to give them an advantage.
Talking about the advantage, Virtusenko goes for a play, and Velmetronio barely survives with a sliver of health. That's such a disrespect recall in this place. If Mio just knew, he could feather their strike on top of you. No pun intended, of course. Meta Shift trying to retake their own jungle. They have 5 men against 4, but will it be enough? I don't know. Extra level 9 against Amar Jr. level 12. This is not the best way to play the game right now. You are so far behind that there needs to be a miracle happening for you to come back.
Finally, you could see 812 getting his own purple buff. But guess what? On the back of it, they're just simply going in for the Lord. They know they've got the retry advantage. There's no one who can really jump in to try and steal it away, but Pelmetronio still wants to go.
Pelmetronio can want to go, but if Virtusenko says no, then he cannot really do that much. 812 will try to get some gold for themselves.
Oh, look at that.
Completed for God Believer. No, he got
Mio.
killed on his way back. Mio got him.
Yeah, he was just sitting in that bush near the bug. And as soon as 812 hopped there, he was surprised by the stun feathered airstrike. Phenomenal.
Well, talking about phenomenal, Amar Jr. is so far ahead in the XP. Look at his levels, almost level 14, together with Zane, 2 of the highest levels. Athena completed for Vabalabadab, but will it be enough? As Black Dragon form will try to fly into his enemy's X-Trail. I don't think this is the play you want to go for, my man, because now you are so low, you cannot do anything. But maybe, just maybe, he made enough space for them to finish Lord.
All he wanted to do was to shut down that feathered airstrike from Mio. That's the biggest play. And I think so that's absolutely fine now. On the back of it, you save your mid inhibitor. Top as well worked up perfectly. And thanks to 812's Fanny, he will be able to go on the side lanes at least to clear that out. Constantly working in those extreme far off lanes as well. First he was in the bottom, now he's all the way up in top. Oh my god, Mio confirming that lightning truncheon. Pelmetronio he's getting outranged already. But now he's going to be chunked down to half HP with a one shot.
I have to say, I really dislike Pelmetronio going for Melissa, and it's now showing he's getting outranged, Omega outranged, because Best Vorvile is just shooting him from 5 miles away. Pelmetronio is still alive, he's still the hope for his team. Mio gets shut down by God Believer, so at least something that they get back, but Best Vorvile will shut down, not through a shutdown, but kill God Believer anyway. And he will pick up a nice item for himself. Oh, X-Trail going for the big Black Dragon form play, knocking up Zane. Zane is still there, of course. He can charge it up. Oh, he misses though, so 812. Can he get Best Vorvile? Best Vorvile against 1v3. Can he live? He killed one. Can he kill more? He tries to run away. X-Trail is in his bag. He's on his back, chasing him, and he shuts him down.
Finally. Just look at the amount of time he bought for his team and look at how much he sustained through that. Man, best worldwide on this Harith. He's literally taking half of the HP down of Pelmetronio's Melissa. Melissa getting outranged by everyone. Now that's a new thing for me to hear. But with the Farsa on the other side, you could probably understand that all of that would happen now. Again, feathered airstrike, but finally it's not even tickling. Wubba lubba dub dub. He's a high loss. He's fine. He's there to tank everything.
Well, but suddenly the goal difference spiked 3000 in a way of meta shift, right? So it's not that bad. And suddenly it's a little bit more playable. And if you look at the items of Pelmetronio, he is not so far behind Best Wild. And if you compare it to everyone else on the map, it's super playable for him because comparatively he has even more items than some of them.
9.2k gold out here, only behind the Harith and the Esmeralda. So he's doing absolutely fine out here right now. And even B12, or rather 812 out here, he's gonna get his own purple buff too. He used up the retribution now. He's not gonna have it for the next 30 seconds though. Good thing Carpadium do not have that information. Otherwise, that could have been
super important. They don't know. And
Yeah.
now Federer's side will be used as Virtusenko uses up his own ultimate glorious pathway. Virtusenko could be the target, but it's Xtru that is the target, but he's still alive though. Pemetronio chases for more. Double kill. Zane goes down, Virtusenko as well. And suddenly it's just Vabalabadabdab that you trade for 2 members and a jungler on top for the side of Metashift.
812. He's got to run back to safety out here. Falling Star Moon and catches the right target.
Tronio tried to fry, but he got fried himself. Mio shuts him down, and suddenly a situation that was so good looking for Metashift is looking equalized in the hands of Carpe Diem.
There was such a good opportunity for the Metashift to go for that Lord. There was no need for 812 to extend that fight any further, because that eventually gave chance to Abomber Jr. to move all the way up, and eventually Mio went in for the feather airstrike onto Pelmetronio. This should not have ended in that way. Now Carpe Diem still with a 4k goal lead will have an opportunity to take this Lord down, but XTRYL's positioning is going to be the key.
Oh, for sure, the positioning will be definitely the key for himself, as we attend another fight that could be the end of this game. Xtru gets put down, there is still Zane. Zane almost dead himself, but Virtusenko is the one to fall for his actions. 812 is though dead as well. Bezvorval gets put down, but doesn't matter because Zane finishes Lord off. Great retribution coming from Zane as Zane makes his retreat. Pemetronio still tries to chase, but he cannot. Well, he might be able to. Zane gets traded for Vabalabadabdav at least, but Lord still in the hands of Carpe Diem.
Good thing is they're able to trade all of those people off, and now XTRYL will be hopping in the 10 to 15 second mark along with 812. So they'd be able to defend this Lord, but maybe not if Abomber Jr. is tanking so much. Look at Mio. Look at Mio.
You have to give it to the man. Pemetronio is doing his absolute best.
Let
but
go!
Will it be enough? It might not be. Pemetronio almost getting shut down himself. He is still alive though. 812 goes for Mio. Mio is super tanky for a bit, but suddenly he falls down anyway. 3,500 gold lead for Carpe Diem, but lately it doesn't really mean that much. It's 17 minutes. Everyone is full build.
No retry for 812. He used it to pick off Mio. And because of that, no purple buff as well. It's Virtusenko who picks it up. I can really run with that cooldown. I absolutely am on board with that. Now, looking at the itemization coming in Carpe Diem, yes, you've got Abomber Jr. with the Radiant Armor for the Eve. You've gone in for the Blade Armor as well. Hold on in the mid.
Yeah, we have to hold on because another onslaught happening. God Believer with big rival manipulation, and now big Black Dragon form going into the backline, going for MR Junior. Big Petrified members, knock up on 3 as well. Virtusenko is almost dead. He gets killed away. There's 812, finishes Best War Wild, and suddenly it's 2 members down. And gold doesn't really matter anymore because Metashift are firmly in the driving seat.
Massive knock-up Petrify combination by XTRYL. I've been mentioning that he is the playmaker on the Alice. He was just not really getting that angle or the opportunity on this Yu Zhong. Now goes in for the Twilight yet again.
X-Trail, maybe he overfried. No, not really. Amar Jr. gets put down himself. Zane as well, killing spree for God Believer. And Amar Jr. no more with immortality as Metashift tried to push for more. Interesting shopping for Vabalabadabdab, where he goes for Queen's Wings. Oh, 812 goes for more, but he almost dies. He is dead. Mega kill for Amar Jr. as Virtusenko is tanking so much up. It's Balrog. He's almost unkillable, but Vabalabadabdab is still alive. God Believer forces everyone away. Mio almost dying, but he is alive barely by a sliver of his health. Metashift suddenly in the gold lead and 20 seconds for Lord Spawn.
Big one yet again from Metashift as they take up the inhibitor in the far lane. The waves are going to push automatically now, so that's going to be massive for their team. And Metronio also steals away the orange buff. That means extra damage for that guy. Goes in for the Rose Gold Meteor, sells the boots for the Athena Shield just because Mio has been destroying him on that magic damage. And there's also Best Worldwide out here on the other side. The buff's still taken by Zane.
Look at his items. I think he had immortality and he didn't realize he doesn't have enough gold, so he sold it. But he couldn't quite finish the last item, so now he will be lacking one of his items. No, it's Vision Lantern now, so everything's fixed. But maybe not for long, because Lord will be probably taken by Meta Shift. Pelmetronio tries to finish it off. Retribution goes from 812 and they play it. Zane gets pushed away by the form of Melissa. Untargetable goes 812, gets put down. Virtusenko mega kill for God Believer, and you trade Roamer for Jungler, but you still have the Lord in your hands.
That's a big one coming in. Lord being picked up, Virtusenko as well. Falling off for the next 32 seconds. 15 seconds for the Lord to actually strike down the crystal, so he'll not be back in time. That is a big problem coming in for the team. Out on the other side of the spectrum though, a 5v4, I think so Metashift have got it.
Well, let's see about that, because 32,000 on Lord is still quite a lot of HP, but the wave is getting bursted down. Zane, Black Dragon form coming from X-Through. He tries to make some space. They go for mid tower at least. 24,000 on Lord. He has still a lot of HP. Immortality popped on 812. He tries to fly from base. X-Through taunted up. Now immobilized. Best board tries to dip back and dodge. X-Through with a big item swap. Zane gets put down. Base Crystal still alive. Half HP. Unstoppable Abo Amar Jr. goes for more. Babalabadabdab is the target. He gets put down. Mio kills him off, and there is 812. Immortality is available. Unstoppable God Believer. He goes for more. 812 tries to fry. He goes for Amar Jr. Amar Jr. is still alive. Big Feather Terstack flicker play coming from Mio, but Mio is the one to die as well, and Amar Jr. cannot defend the base alone.
My goodness, you could literally say the epic comeback from Metashift, and that is a backbreaker for Carpadium. It's not just this one series, man. Even in the previous series, they had one 30+ minute game, which they eventually lost. And now there's the second one happening out here. My goodness, Carpadium had everything working for them. They shut down the Fanny in the early game. Pelmetronia was being deleted by Mio's feathered airstrike, but it was just those extended team fights which helped Metashift to finally win out that entire game, man. Again, late game, Pelmetronio, Melissa, XTR vials, massive Petrify play. It was a lot to handle.
Well, you spelled it out for them. You said, I think the Lord will be enough. I think that's something that came from you like 40 seconds before the base crystal exploded. And for a couple of seconds, I didn't believe, but then I saw the angle. And I think Mio was a little bit overzealous. I think if he didn't flicker with the feathered airstrike and he just kept it, like he used it, but he kept the flicker, I think it would be possible to defend, because the Lord was not alive anymore, so you just needed to clear the wave, and the wave was in range of feathered airstrike. I think it was a little bit overzealousy coming from Mio, but you have to cut him some slack. This man, as you have said it, 2 30-minute long games, then barely getting through, and now you are in this series, lose the first game. But honestly, as you have said it, this second game felt much more back-breaking than the first. Because I thought the first would squish out all the confidence from Carpe Diem, but they had it. They still had fight in them. But I'm worried they might not have another fight into the third and possibly last game.
One of the most interesting things for me was Abo Amar Jr., man. Not even dying a single time in this entire game of what? A 48 kills game. He participated in 10 of them, did not even die once, always face tanking what Pelmetroni was throwing at him, and even after all of that, it was just not enough. Virtusenko as well, going in with the Blade Armor, Anti-Cuirass, Dominance Ice. That is over 200 to 300 physical defense for you, man. Even those enhanced defenses when you have lowering down the attack speed of the other side, lowering down the attack numbers overall on the other side. It's just too much for any marksman to handle. But Pelmetronio with the Inspire was just able to sustain through all of that. And the fun fact is, he was not getting caught in the Wrath of Dryad by Virtusenko. That was the big thing. If he was caught even once, then that could have been it for him. But he was not, and that is again, it goes down to the positioning of Pelmetroni on this Melissa. He just knew the power spikes. He got picked off once, but apart from that, nothing. And God Believer as well, even though he died a few times early on, he was able to position himself a lot better later on to just survive and kite through every single piece of damage that was coming in from Best Worldwide or Abu Amr Jr.
Well, this game was kind of a two-man game between God Believer and Pelmetronio, where Pelmetronio kind of held the gates. He was holding the gates closed, and at the last moment, like the right of Rohirrim's in Lord of the Rings, God Believer came with a clutch, with real warp manipulation, when he was able to just finish it off, finish the fights, pick off the right targets. And as you have said it, rightfully so, the first part of the game, it was like God Believer trying to believe in the God, but suddenly it felt like everyone else started believing in God Believer, because he started turning those fights on top of their heads. He started doing so much damage, he was picking off the right target, zoning them off, crazy revolve manipulations, and he was suddenly like reborn.
Fun fact is, I could say the same thing for XTRYL. He was like struggling so much on this Yuzhong early on, dying 6 to 7 times as well. Everything was going good for Carpe Diem, and then eventually he found a proper timing with his team with how he needs to use the Black Dragon form. It was very disconnected by meta shift early on, but then Pelmetronio's couple of picks along with God Believer as well starting to dish out that damage, and Wobble Up a Dub being pretty tanky, that kind of paved the way for meta shift to bring themselves back in that game number 2. But on the back of it now, they've got a lead of 2 games to 1.
It's a tough spot to be in if you're Carpe Diem. But definitely, the answer is not full damage Khalid, I can tell you that. Don't do it, Carpe Diem, don't do it.
Oh my god, bro.
Keep some dignity, don't go with full damage Khalid, please. But what I wanted to say is I can really see it's super tough, right? The spot in which Carpe Diem is, of course, the spot was tough just a couple minutes, not couple minutes, but like couple hours ago. Super tough spot for Metashift when they kind of had to jump back into the series and get prepared after they got punched down into the lower bracket. But honestly, I think Carpe Diem still got it. If you ask, like, skill-wise, macro-wise, mechanics-wise, I think they got it. I think it's playable, I think it's possible. I think there were so many good moments from this team that we saw, especially today in this series. As I have said it, and I will say it again, they look like a different team than yesterday. They look very well working together. They have much better synchronization, they have better synergy. So I'm feeling like they could pull it back, but it's going to be very hard, and this is the last moment, last chance, as is the name of the qualifier they have.
One opportunity is all you've got right now. Dangerous Cross is the name of the map. Extra bushes to work around with. Hilda's gonna love this one. Kalia's gonna love this one. Maybe even Franco or Kaja are going to love this game. But are we going to see that or not? It's the big question out here, Warren, because again, Carpe Diem will be on the red side. We've got Metashift, ladies and gentlemen, on the blue side. What's it going to be? Are we going to see Pelmetronio back in the action of the regular season? That's the big question.
Metashift actually going for the... No, not really going, right? Carpe Diem were the ones choosing the side. I have to always remind myself, of course, a little bit of a longer day. Not really time-wise. Time-wise, it's been just 3 hours, but like match-wise, how impactful it was, how crazy the games were, how action-packed it was. Well, in that way, you have to cut me a little bit of slack. I will try to be ready. I will try to be coherent myself for the rest of the series. But it was an intense day, and it still is. And we see Metashift going for Yuzong and Lunox ban, whereas Carpe Diem are looking for more typical bans in form of Juxin and Lancelot.
It's fine. I mean, on the red side, you have to go and ban out the Jushin. I believe it's going to be a CC ban as well for the last one. Since the Eve has been banned out, I think so the priority for meta shift could eventually be a Farsa into the mid lane. Maybe God Believer would want to play with it, or again just to deny it to Mio, because Mio was pretty good on that Farsa. Or they can, you know what, simply lock in the Basha. Worked out in the first game, could eventually work out for them in the second game as well. Or rather the third one here.
It could be the Bakshia. You are right on point. It was working much better than in the series before. And here he is, the Turtle God himself, Bakshia, the man, the myth, the legend, Turtle Man, who is saying that you cannot make it work with 2 shields. I mean, my mom always was saying that you cannot make it work with 2 shields, but look at Bakshia. He's rolling around, making it work.
Fun fact is he just covers himself with those 2 shields and rolls around the entire field though. But for Carpedium now, I think so it should be an Alice pick. And if they really want to go with something, maybe they can also pick up an early Angela if they want to. Or you know what, since Lancelot has been banned out, Alice, Yi Shin.
I think Alice Yi Shin could be the way to approach the game, because I have multiple times today established that you need frontline for your typical backline heroes, but of course Jisung-Shin, well, is not your typical hero. Well, let's not talk about Jisung-Shin, because Lapu Lapu and Farsa are on the board, on the menu, you can say. And this is quite spicy, because Yuzong is off the board. Yuzong, the typically strong hero into Lapu Lapu, who can punish his early weak phases of the game. And now you go for Alice, but Alice has the shorter stick. If you compare her capabilities to Lapu Lapu, especially when she is at level 4 and is the early phase of the game.
But the fun fact is, XTRYL knows how to make those nasty plays with 3-man, 4-man stun along with the Thorn of Ruin. So I don't really see any problem with XTRYL picking that Alice up. He's been into worse matchups. He's also been against Yu Zhongs, which you know that is a favored matchup for him. Even after that, he picks it up, he makes it work. And right now, all he needs to do is just shut down the Farsa. Get that Immobilize in, shut down that Feathered Airstrike, force out Mio in an awkward position. There's a Fredrin up in front of you too, along with the Lapu Lapu. A lot of tankiness coming in. So Carpedium will really need to look for a proper damage dealer out here, which can also, you know, I think so they're going to play a front-to-back composition out with this one. The Belric's going to be banned out. Virtusenko is not going to get his hands on his pocket pick anymore now. Kimi along with the Moskov. Well, Metronio still has the Irithel and the Melissa. So those could be picked up out here. They still Hadith open. And I think so that Hadith could be a pretty good pick for meta shift.
He could be indeed, for sure. Of course, then you are very strong on the magic damage dealer side, because X-Trail magic damage dealer. And you would, if you would go your typical magic damage dealing mid lane mage, well then, oh, Metashift actually going for the Nathan ban out. Quite interesting for me. Is that something that you think they have in their arsenal, or do you think it's the PTSD from the first series?
Could be that case though, but I think so they've got a read onto what best worldwide are going to pick up. They only have one magic damage dealer till now, so they need the second one that could go in the gold lane. Hadith doesn't seem to be a good pick into an Alice and a Basha, so they probably thought it's going to be a Nathan, but they're locking a Granger. Want some early snowball. Who is going to be their roam? That is the question. I really hope that Virtusenko could actually play an Alert, because if not, then all I can see is going to be a Khalid. My goodness, that is such a late game composition. You've got a Sicilian picked up along with a Harith. XTRYL as well on the Alice. That's a lot of magic damage if you consider the Basha as well. Radiant armors first on the board, definitely for Carpedium.
Do you have to make one thing count, and that is Carpedium have, at least from what we saw, they cannot end the games. Other than that,
True.
Everything else before that, they can make the eggs, they can fry the eggs, they can get all of these things, they can get all of those things done, but when it's time to wash the pan, they don't know how.
They're locking the Hilda as well for the last one. I was thinking of Kalia or maybe an Arlet or maybe something that can set your team up for a play, right? They need a proper engage tool for themselves, but they don't really have that. So they're going to go with a Hilda right now just to try and disrupt the farming flow of mid shift. Now it's interesting to see how this one is going to work again. You can work around with the map space, a lot of bushes. It's fine. Hilda's going to heal up a lot. Opens the room for you. Maybe they can try and invade into the jungle of 812. But apart from that, I still think that Meta Shift might actually have this one in the bag if God Believer survives in the early game.
I mean, Carpe Diem are full all out. They are saying, we win early game, we break your backs, and you have no time to get into the late game. That's the story of the game. Because Carpe Diem want to make it as quick as possible. They want to be done with it and be immediately on the score 1-2. So they can kind of ease themselves up. Of course, it will still be rough because they cannot lose furthermore. But it will be a little bit of a better position than they are in right now. Because then it will be only 2 more games, not 3. So I can kind of see the vision. Only thing for late game for Carpe Diem is Mio. And we saw Mio playing super good Farsa. So why not?
The thing that's going to work them for the early game is going to be this Hilda. Just so that Mio can get enabled in the late game, but not like this. Urchisenko has got to run back to safety. Thanks to that bush now, he's going to heal back up now. Both the junglers, if you really think about it, they're going to have a pretty slow clearing speed. There we go, Mio wants to make a play up top. Down bot,
well,
rather.
Speaking about slow, you cannot definitely be speaking about slow if you look at Mio. Oh, look at 812 getting frostbite for himself, and it's on Hayabusa. That's rough.
Not really the best thing out here as the jungle gets open up and Mio, he's struggling with the Shield of Unity on the other side. He's got to use the wing by wings to clear out the mid, but oh, Flicker burnt out. The turtle is open for Meta Shift.
Carpe Diem needs to drop it. And it's so bad because they are on a timer. They need to be playing those objectives. Maybe Mio can get back in time through the bird form. Maybe he can do that. I don't know if it will be quite possible though.
No level 4, no Flicker available. This is going to be disastrous for Carpe Diem if they decide to take the fight and then lose it.
But the thing is, the clock is ticking, tick-tack, and level 4 on Mio is ticking as well. Bobalabadab only level 2, Virtusenko going for 812, 812 almost going down, big for the strike, Zane finishes the turtle off, and God Believer needs to start believing in running away, because he needs to keep his life, his head on his neck, as Zane finishes Babalabadab, and suddenly Carpe Diem with a 1000 goal lead.
Big play coming in again from Virtusenko on that Hilda. Just entirely destroys the HP of 812 thanks to that one shot of the feathered airstrike as well.
Talking about shots taken, Vabalabadablev is taking all the shots from Baseball Wild, but he's still alive. There is Xtra with a big play coming from Elise. He picks up Zane, and Baseball Wild tries to run away. Mio with an feathered airstrike as a defensive measure. It's just not enough, but Virtusenko going for 812. There is Summer Jr. going for 812, but it's just not enough. 812 is too quick with those shadows.
And if it's not just him with that HP, it is also Babalabadabdub. This is just nasty, unfortunate for Carpe Diem. That's 400 gold running away right in front of their eyes. But what an outplay coming in from both of them. And at the end of the day, it's Meta Shift with a bit of a goal lead. And as I said, they've got a scaling composition. A massive late game power spike. And whenever you're playing a Sicilian, right? Bat's impact is not the most important skill. Neither is the Bat's feast. It is always the Sanguine Claws. If you can catch others in your Sanguine Claws, you disrupt their positioning, and then they'd either have to burn their spells or they'd have to just accept their fate and get bonked down out in mid though. Oh my goodness!
Talk about accepting fate. 812 had to accept or he should have accepted that he won't be getting anything until the next turtle fight, but he was saying to himself, well, maybe I can, you know, cut out a little bit for myself, but his hands were too greedy. He didn't. He tried to get too much. He died for his actions, and together with Xtro, they've been put down, and now Carpe Diem are taking the second turtle of the game, and suddenly it's 1,300 for Carpe Diem.
Interesting to see that they did not really decide to go in for the purple buff as well. I thought they would want to. But again, they didn't really have the feathered airstrike of Mio available. And if that's not available, you can't really go in for those fights. Again, Sanguine Claw saving the life of God Believer there, but hold on.
Hold on, Zane said when he taunted up Vabalaba, but Vabalaba is still alive, still it's Baxia, so you can kinda expect that he will be pretty tanky, pretty hard to bring down. But right now you don't really need to bring down anyone, because Carpe Diem quest has been completed. They won through the early game, and now they just need to keep attaining more and more advantage. Maybe try to shut down Harit, because Pelmetronio was the last man standing for meta shift in the last game, and he made it for a comeback.
Now it's also the Harith in his own hands, right? I was mentioning how Harith could actually be a decent pick for either of these teams out here right now. Another one, maybe, breaking out? No. But the Retribution Speed, or rather, since it's the Hilda, Ochisenko was able to run away.
Well, and on the new channel of National Geographic, you can see that Turtle doesn't stand a chance against a Bird, because Bird is much faster. As Mio picks up another item. Besbor Wild with a 1v1 against 812. Granger, my man, he brought a gun into a knife fight.
I mean, that's the ninja on the other side, my man. Those kunais and the sword, it's always the way of the shadow. Helped him out, sustain through all of that on the back of it in mid.
Zane chasing up X-Trail. X-Trail will be able to stay alive, possibly for now. Emio trying to run away. Bird form, keeping him alive. Virtusenko, half HP. Zane is there, taunting it up, going for God Believer. God Believer, he cannot run away. This is Fredrin, and Fredrin is in your face as he puts you down. Babalabadabdab tries to run away. Third turtle on the map, but looks like Carpe Diem have no want in taking that, and they possibly want to take a tower for themselves. Besvorvat actually with a 1v3 still able to trade himself. Nice job, yeah. Besvorvat. That's maybe why his name is like that. 812 against two members still trying to survive. Virtusenko, I think, yeah, KO. That's the only way this could have resulted.
To be honest, 812 has been pretty nasty with all of his players. Hold on.
Talking about nasty, his face check was pretty nasty.
I don't think so there was any necessity for Virtusenko to go over there. Could have just all the way backed off and then played it around. The turtle picked up along with the purple buff as well. Stolen away Carpe Diem. And now increasing their goal lead. So their mid-game snowball is starting to take effect. And they need to basically end this game by 12th minute mark. If they cannot, and if Metashift are able to stall it till the 13th minute, then the Sicilian scaling is going to hit you like a truck. 812 is already level 9, level 12, and he is going to destroy you.
Well, talking about destroying, MR Jr. wants to have a try at that. He tried to destroy Pelmetronio, but he might be the one getting destroyed. A good land shaker into Feather Airstrike combination. Virtusenko chasing everyone away. Mio, unfortunately, cannot support with the air support anymore. And now there is Zane just going for the little bug. Can he get it? I think...
No.
Did he? No. I think
no.
God Believer stole it.
Yeah, God Believer was making sure that he keeps his own farm up for his team. On the other side of the spectrum, now again, the off lane is going to be pushed in by 812 on that Hayabusa. And there's no one else who can actually take on to him, right? Zane is pretty slow in terms of that mobility, so you've just got to set Abo Armor Jr. for those far lane setups, so those clears. We're moving in towards that mid to late game transition out here now. Finally, we will see Metashift bringing themselves back with XTRYL being very tanky. 812 as well, level 10 right now, just is looking for that level 12 spike.
Virtusenko going for Balabadabda. Best for that finishes him off. There is Pantronia trying to play 1v3. I don't think this is the way to fight it. God Believer chases Mio away, but super good position for Carpe Diem to start. Lord.
Oh, all right. That was pretty. That was pretty close, XTRYL. Just a second more and you would not have had the dash to survive. Thorn of Ruin available along with the Flicker as well. He can definitely set things up for his team as the Lord is almost down to half of his HP.
Antonio 1v1 against Best Vorvat and he still got it. But of course, you kinda have to cut him some slack. Harit against Granger, you know who's gonna win.
That too in this mid to late game, yeah, it's always going to be Harith. Specifically if you're standing inside the Zaman Force, there's no way for you to survive. You've got to keep that gap in. Hold on.
Talking about keeping the gap in, Virtusenko wants to close the gap as he jumps on top of Vabalabadabdap and the rest. But unfortunately for him, now he is eating grass.
Lord is going to march down all the way from the bottom side though. And the top tier 2 gets taken down just like that. That is a bit of a small mistake from Metashift though, or you could say better wave management for Carpe Diem. But here we go, another fight in mid.
Zane going for Extra. Extra needs to think, does he flicker? Yes, he will. There is the next target that's next on the chopping block. It's Vabalabadabda. He gets destroyed. True damage coming from Zane. Big ultimate from Fredrin.
Yeah, you always think about that big bonk out here. You don't want to stay in the center of that. And now Zane he can just face check all of those bushes as well. 812 will have to be careful whenever he thinks about jumping in with that. There we go, the taunt.
Or maybe Zane just goes into 4 members in their own base and he doesn't care. He's super tanky, still alive. Stack pushes everyone away. Virtusenko jumps into the backline, jumps over the wall. I don't think this was the best idea. Spamatronio will remind him so. And Turtle, not really a Turtle, but Lord pushes. Can he get the aura? I don't think he can. Yeah, unfortunately for Carpe Diem, aura will stay, but good thing happened. Amar Jr. was able to steal away the aura on top side.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be a bit of a problem for them, right? If either ways goes away at the 12th minute, so you only have got about a few 40 seconds per se to work around with it. We have a look at the items now. Holy Crystal prioritized my meta shift early on. No early Radiant Armors apart from Zane now. That's an interesting take considering there's 4 magic damage dealers. Even Abu Amr Jr. is going in for an Oracle. I kind of would have wanted to see him on the Radiant Armor rather than an Oracle, but alright. Athena Shield prioritized by Virtusenko, so that's decent. Now, there we go, another one in mid.
X2 needs to run away, but still it's slippery guy, because at least you cannot really pinpoint her down. Amarjanu needed to use his bravest fighter, but doesn't really come to anything. And meta shift, this is the 12-minute mark. The next Lord will be super important, because if Carpe Diem cannot make the game end, or game-ending play over on this Lord, it's done and dusted. Meta shift just need to stall, and eventually it's their game.
We know how well Metashift can stall, right? We've seen that happen in the previous one. They're doing it again. Pelmetronio 303. There we go.
Well, can they stall if Xtro is almost dead? Because Carpe Diem will take the Lord for free.
Can they take the Lord for free? That's the big question out here. Wabalabadabdab is giving a lot of vision though. Abu Amr Jr.'s positioning is going to be crucial for this fight.
Metronia will be even more crucial if he bursts down Bersvorba together with Mio. They both need to retreat from the fight as Zane will finish off the Lord. Virtusenko trying to make some space, but it's 2. No, just 1 member for Lord. Maybe 2 actually if Big Feather Terstai come in their way. It taunts up X-Trail through Zane. And now Mio needs to retreat. Zane, can he get bursted down? Yugi Shadow Kill not available, so he will leave. Alright, you trade your XP for Lord. I don't think that should be happening. I think you should have took the fight and won the fight.
Oh my goodness, Zane. Wants to catch one more, but XTRYL will run back to safety. The skill one thrown at the perfect time. As I said, Abu Amr Jr.'s positioning is going to be the key. He made sure that apart from Pelmetronia, everyone else was zoned out on the other side.
Talking about zoning, Mio needs to use the bird form once more. Virtusenko going for 812. He had enough of 812 jumping around, killing his backline carries. And Virtusenko said, stop, my man. I know how to deal damage.
This is the Hilda, man. This is the strength of a Hilda. If you're a squishy, you cannot face tank Hilda's burst. The Hunter mark on top of you, it just utterly destroys you. Helmetronio on the other side of the spectrum as well. He's probably got the Divine Glaive already. Now would be going in for the Blood Wings to try and help him out. Zayn, he hops in into the Feather Airstrike.
Helping out. Mio will help out his team to try to close it out. Now there's another target, God Believer, and I have to start believing because Carpe Diem can take this back.
The Lord's been taken care of though, but there we go, the Oogie Shadow kill.
Yeah, but it's dissipated between 4 members, so not really doing that much. It felt like tickling. I think he tickled them.
Yeah, the thing is he did not really have any Shadow Mark on top of anyone. So that's why not a single damage being dealt to them.
Yeah, talking about damage, Xtro had a taste of that. Winter Crown picked up for Amar Jr. so he can go crazy, but he goes down as Pelmetronio is the one to go crazy. Pelmetronio tries to chase them away, but he will be happy with only 1 kill under his belt.
Now here's the thing, right? You've got God Believer on the Sicilian. There's a very good wave clear for meta shift with the Sicilian, with Pelmetronio, and you could also count in XTRYL a little bit in it. So it's going to be pretty difficult for Carpe Diem to win this game. A 1,700 gold lead, 44 to 42k mark. And this is the 42k gold mark which I always talk about. That means all your carries will have all of their major itemizations. The only thing is that they'll lack would be the last item probably. Similar things could be said for the rest of the members too. Right now, a Hunter Strike already built up for the Hilda. That's why you could see Virtusenko dealing so much damage.
Talking about eating damage, Virtusenko definitely knows how to do that, as next lore will be spawning onto the map, but what's super important is that Harit came online, he's full build, and he will be scary. The same thing can be said for Cecilian, who will be soon finishing his last item. Of course, Xtril and the rest are not that well. Other than 812, he's doing pretty well for himself. Wings will be picked up for God Believer. And Xtra with a big play going for Mio. Mio needs to flicker out and Amar Jr. is nowhere to be seen. Virtusenko tries to force Hayabusa away, but Zayn goes down because Pelmetronio goes unstoppable. He wants to take this home. Pelmetronio still alive. Abalabadabda gets pulled down. Killing spree for the carry of Carpe Diem, but there is Virtusenko 1v4. I don't think this is the fight he should have taken. Monster kill for Pelmetronio as he chases for more. Mio together with Amar Jr. need to run away. Mio still alive, but best Vorbild needs to help them out if they want to steal it away. Amar Jr. with 1v1 against Pelmetronio. He will get probably put down. He misses. There is Winter Crown, he's still alive, but Pelmetronio secures the kill and goes godlike. And honestly, if there was some idea to be had for Carpe Diem, I think it was broken by a single man. And his name starts with P and ends with Tronio. Because man, the myth, the legend, holding his team together. And I think there is no one who doesn't believe that he will take this one home as well. Because honestly, how the fights are looking, I see no way of Carpe Diem playing this out.
As much as Pelmetronio is going 704, I'll have to say, dude, XTRYL making those plays, pushing Mio back. That was the key play which eventually helped them isolate those fights against Abo Amar Jr., Zayn, and Virtusenko. Otherwise, that was not happening. Otherwise, Carpe Diem was winning it all the way out. XTRYL, again, this playmaker is insane when it comes to the Salis.
Well, let's see if Metashift can finish off the game. Lord is getting chunked very well. There is God Believer popping ult already. Zayn gets targeted actually. And Fredrin goes into Winter Crown. Extra almost dead as well, but first target to fall is Zayn together with Mio. And it's just 3 members. No, just 2. Triple kill for Pelmetronio. Can he get a Savage? Can he get Virtusenko? He will try to do so. Big Yugi Shadow kill. No, 812 steals it away. And together they will steal away the base crystal. And any hope for Carpe Diem to come back into the series.
Oh, there's one minion. Alright, yeah, that should be enough. They were recalling on the faces, man. They were like, yeah, alright, do whatever you want to do, but we are winning this one game. But a big play coming in from Metashift. 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? Twice in a row, it was an epic comeback from Metashift. Carpe Diem had full control of the game. They were everywhere around the map, right? There was nowhere else where they could eventually go, but you mentioned it out, Warren. You said that Carpe Diem are lacking in their game-ending capabilities. And that is exactly what MetaShift utilized in their own favor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunately for Carpe Diem, they really need to work out those closing tactics, those
Yeah.
end gaming methods, because until you are in the last quarter of the game, they play very well. It's nice rotations, nice combinations, nice team fights, nice strategies and stuff. But suddenly, like someone wolves with a magical wand, when it comes to those last minutes, they don't know what to do really.
I agree, and this has been basically their storyline, right? We do everything that we need to do, but then when it comes to closing out those games, that's where we struggle. Carpadium, I'd have to say, their run was impeccable throughout the upper bracket as well. They kept on winning, then eventually lost, went to the lower bracket, kept on winning from there as well. Loyal Sword was their previous opponent against whom they won in a 2-1 fashion. And after all of that, they had to face the king of the gold lane himself, Pel Metronio. Eventually, he was a bit too much for them to handle. And yes, that's going to be the Harith getting the MVP 10-0 and 5, making the Oracle as his last item, along with a Feather of Feven, Stallium Scythe. You've already got the Concentrated Energy, Divine Glaive, Holy Crystal. The Oracle was made by selling away the boots. And I think so that is a very good idea into a lot of healing which you can get. Mio as well was doing a fantastic job onto the Farsa for the side of Carpadia. Mabo Armor Jr. As I said, the itemizations could have been a little bit better.
Well, Abu Amr Jr. having that Oracle together with Vorax didn't have really time to finish off the Hunter Strike eventually. Honestly, it kind of fell flat if you compare the matchup, especially in the last game, of Extra against Abu Amr Jr. Abu Amr Jr. was very decently playing throughout the whole series, but in the last game he kinda fell off, and Extra was the guy of the show. Because I know I have highlighted Palmetronio a lot throughout this whole series and the last series as well. I was saying how he holds the team together, how they can come back through him because he always has farm. It was the same with Melissa, it was the same with him playing Harid, he always has the gold. But Extra, the playmaker himself. You said it yourself, he was making those plays happen. And if you compare those two, Abu Amr Jr. and Extra took the cake in this game especially. He was being a force to reckon with, and everyone needed to keep it in the back of their head. Not really in the back of their head, in the front of their head. Constantly thinking, alright, where can he jump from? There is Alice, he can immediately CC us up. It's so rough.
It's pretty difficult for them to run around with it. That's the big thing about Alice's Throne of Ruin, right? You don't see it coming. That's the biggest play which you can make on that Alice. And it's one of the fun things which XTRYL has been pretty solid at. But more so, I want to see some more depth into his EXP hero pool once we'll be moving on to the regular season, because that's where he will be tested a lot. Everyone else with all the other items looking pretty good and dandy. Wabbalabadabda was going for the Guardian helmet as well, just so he's got a lot of HP for Carpadium to deal with. As we have a look at the amount of damage being dealt, Pelmetronio on top, 82,000, but still behind best worldwide with 98,000 total damage dealt. He was doing a lot on that Granger, but as I said, it wasn't enough.
Honestly, the state of the series, the 3-0 for MetaShift, doesn't really tell the full story because, as I have said before in the last game, I will say it once more, Carpe Diem, they came such a long way, and it definitely came down to the little mistakes, to the little things where MetaShift was just better than their opponents by just this little tiny bit, because especially when you speak about Best for Wild, even though Palmetronio was the anchor of the team, if you look at the damage this game specifically, like he was there, he was doing the work, he was hitting the targets, he was making the DPS.
Yeah, it was basically doing everything out here. I mean, To be honest, if you really think about it, I'd have to say, just if Abu Amr Jr. would have gone in for maybe an Athena or a Radiant early on, and then probably would have made up that anti-Curious as well, he would have had enough HP to sustain through meta shifts proper damage. Went in for quite a lot of those half items, eventually into the Winter Crown. Like, I understand the idea of a Winter Crown, but everyone else on the other side is just so good at running away that your Winter Crown play into the Raging Slash will not be useful. Everyone will just dash out of it and be able to sustain through all of that. That was a bit of a problem coming in now. Wubba Lubba Dub Dub with the maximum sustain in the game, probably. No, it's actually going to be Virtue Senko with 166,000, and then it's Wubba Lubba Dub Dub with 163,000 as well. The rich guy, definitely Pelmetronio, 14,414 gold. What is with this 14414? Probably cooking something up out there, man.
I don't know, maybe he planned onto that from the beginning. Maybe that was the sole reason why he was farming up. But again, Baseball Wild not so far behind himself. Though, let's speak about the winners of the qualifier, because that's what it's all about right now.
Yes.
We have to once more speak about not just Metashield, but against MEC Esports, which in the first place put them down into the loser bracket. Because those two teams will be joining the rest in the regular season together with two last invited teams, which we still don't know anything about. So you will learn that as soon as it's done and dusted. Of course, it's going to be revealed pretty soon, since the season should be starting as well, right? So that's something for you to still think about. Maybe you can type your guesses in the chat. Who do you think should get that? Drop your knowledge. What do you think? And well, let's go over the teams that are already qualified. We have Jackpots, crazy team that went from complete flip. Like, one day they woke up and they were super good, and the second game they woke up and it wasn't as good. They were able to stabilize, so that's a team for you. Minerva Fury, very consistent performance, but unfortunately in the end Jack was very the stronger team. Omniglitch coming from a big failure in the beginning of the Thunder Division, finally jumping back on top. Stolen Angels, the team that we first thought will be on top of the Thunder Division, didn't really happen for them. Void Kids bringing themselves from the blades of despair, from the depths of hell itself. They brought themselves up and still qualified. Revenant Order battling it out, getting themselves through. Eternal Oblivion, definitely the top dogs coming from relegation promotion. Ake falling down from Thunder Division, but still battling it through. Teeny Bamboozle battling it through in the group where there was Ake and Eternal Oblivion, and that speaks for itself. Code Glitch together with Memento Mori and Fake Time coming from the other group. Fake Time, they let themselves be heard that they should have beaten Code Glitch, so we can expect big things from them. Code Glitch, don't confuse them with Omni Glitch. Two glitches. Be careful about that. Memento Mori being reborn, completely new roster with one member remaining. Can they make up for their former glory? And last two invited teams, of course, which we still don't know about. And Scared, speak to me about what do you think Meta Shift and MEC Esports bring to the table into regular season?
That's the big thing, man. They've got the experience for both of the big players out here. One of the best EXP laners out, that's my lobby. And one of the best gold laners, that is Pelmetronio. Both of them win their own respective teams. They've both tasted the glory of the Thunder Division. Eventually dropped down to the last chance qualifiers, all because they went on and decided to go in with a new roster. Moving all the way up through that, back into the regular season. I'm really excited to see what these teams have got, man. Warren, you've told about the journey of these teams all the while. You've been a part of the journey of these teams as well. It's going to be super exciting, ladies and gentlemen, to witness the regular season. The action for all of that will begin from November 7th. Same time, make sure you note it all down. Hit that like button, click on the subscribe button as well, and also hit the bell notification. Do not miss out on any action from MEC Fall 2025 and from Surge Europe out there. Follow us on social media as well so that you're up to date with everything that's about to happen, as we will catch you guys with the regular season of MEC Fall 2025 Till then, it's me, Scared Yet, alongside me, Warren. We'll be signing off for the night. Good night.